qu'au-delà des mers, là-bas sur le ciel clair, il existe une cité au séjour enchanté. Et sur les grands arbres noirs, chaque soir, vers elle s'en va tout mon espoir. J'ai deux amours, mon pays et Paris. Pareil toujours, mon cœur est ravi.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Voltage Series Season 6. It is here. It is finally time to kick off what is hopefully going to be a phenomenal evening. Our grand final, GK versus Seco Palace, is coming your way. My name's Travi. I'm joined here on my left by One. Welcome onto the stream, One. How are you doing tonight?
Thank you. I'm having a great evening. Already the talks in the green room, let's say, were already great. And I'm very much excited for this matchup we were going to see.
The energy here, the atmosphere here in the green room, in the call amongst ourselves and the casters, it's been electric so far, and it's only going to get higher and higher energy from here on out. But before we get into the grand final itself, we've got a bit of business to do, a bit of admin work too. So let's have a quick chat about our giveaway that we've got coming up for you folks this evening. Because in addition to the grand final that we've got running, we are going to be giving away some Rainbow Six credits to you folks at home, the very lucky viewers. 5 of you are going to be walking away with 2,670 Rainbow Six credits, and the entry, it's as simple as typing ! giveaway in chat. You can buy yourself the new Munich Major bundle, one of the many esports skins available. There's some pretty good options you can use with that kind of money.
Oh yes, I would be excited to use those credits, to be fair. And if I could, I would rob them, but I'm here.
We're not allowed, unfortunately. Someone's told us we're not allowed. But what we are allowed to do is go to and advertise the upcoming T2 finals in Malta that are taking place in a little over 6 weeks' time. So if you're unfamiliar, unaware, 6th to 7th of December at the Blast Studio in Malta itself, the EML regional finals are taking place. Top 6 teams from EML over the year, our T1 teams, they're all going to be battling it out for the lion's share of the prize pool, in addition to the grand final of the T2 circuit. So all of these tournaments, Voltage Series, ELC, everything the like, it's all going to be coming to a very heavy end there, right in this tournament, the grand final of it for the lion's share of the cash pool, and as well a spot in the 6 Invitational LCQs. There's a lot on the line there for these teams, and speaking of tournament, let's take a look at the bracket. One, what do you make of things so far?
Yeah, we got, obviously, Seco Palace and GK Esports in the grand final here. They both battled it out against a lot of teams. GK, a little bit more relaxed, I would say, not losing as many maps as Seco Palace did. But both teams showed why they're here today. And I'm very excited to see how they're matching up against each other today in a best-of-5 with unlimited overtime, which can be a factor. It could be that we're here till tomorrow, so strap yourself in.
Strap yourself in indeed. It could be a very, very long evening between these two teams. And in terms of the prize for the winner, now, there were T2 points on the line. Unfortunately, the way the standings have crumbled, they don't really matter too much anymore. But what is on the line for these two teams is going to be the prize pool. 2,400 euros for our winner, only 1,000 for second place. They've already got themselves about 40% of the way there. Now it's just getting the extra 1,400. And as you said, they're going to need to win tonight's best of 5. Unlimited overtime. We could be here a while. It could be a quick 3-0. This could be a 5 mapper that goes on into the early hours of the morning. What do you folks at home think? Well, we asked all of our staff. What does everyone here think is going to happen tonight? What are our personal predictions? And we're going to get them for you on screen in just a second. See who's going. And there's a little less GK than I was thinking. I can't lie to you, One. I thought everyone was going to be supporting GK here.
Yeah, they had a pretty dominant year. Winning Combine, winning lots of stuff. Not only showing themselves online, but also offline, which can be quite a big factor for some people, especially if they're not as experienced. And so, yeah, I thought as well that maybe we have one or two who's rooting for Seco Palace. But yeah, we have some believers in here. And I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's nice to see that we have those kind of believers in here as well. It's nice to see there's that balance between the staff here. If I'm not mistaken, it's 50-50 literally between everyone, and hopefully within chat it's going to be a similar case as well. Obviously, as you say, GK, they've had a phenomenal year. 3 for 3 in the primary T2 tournaments, have done phenomenal as well elsewhere. Psychopatas, they've not had quite the same success, but they've had some good moments this year, and while it's not going to matter for T2 points anymore, this would be a really good evening. Sort of put their name out there as they start to look ahead towards Challenger Series quals and SI quals, right?
Yeah, especially just having beaten GK is a statement this year. So they already did it at some point in the year in Talent League. But of course, winning against them in a grand final, in a best of 5, it's always the best. Also, just winning stuff is always the best, right? So
Always. Love to win things. I mean, being part of the Hawaiians, I wouldn't know a thing about winning any T2 matches. However, GK, then, as you say, they're no strangers to success, no strangers to these really, really good performances. Hungry, Rexon, Rorik, Eagle, and Packball. Obviously, a roster that everyone's going to know. A lot of names here that carry a significant amount of weight, a lot of experience within the scene. Going into this matchup, what are we expecting to see from this GK roster?
I think we can expect lots of different things, because they can play the default way of Siege very, very good, but they also have lots of set plays or rushes. And if you just prepare for one of them, you're gonna be destroyed by the other. They can be brutal, especially on the set plays. If you're not ready, then you lose a round, and losing 1 or 2 rounds here and there just through set plays, that can hurt, especially in a best of 5. If you consistently lose just through some quick plays, that can really work on your mental. And I'm excited to see whether GK will pull lots of those set plays out of their pocket, or if they try to stay a little bit more conservative and play the standard way of Siege.
It's always quite a spectacle to watch GK play, and I think you hit the nail on the head there. They sometimes play this very default style of Siege, and then the other rounds you get this massive flashy play style. Over on the other side of Psychopatas, things are a little bit different for them. They have a much more committed play style. You have expectations of how they want to play. They will often very much go for these very strong extensions, very want to stick around them, hold these player positions, sometimes to their detriment, holding them a little bit too long. But in contrast, how's their playstyle going to be interacting with that of GK's?
Like, it always depends in these cases on like performance of the day, because if everyone is on their top level 100%, then it always depends on who can adapt the fastest, not only between rounds but in a round. And I think we will see, especially with those extensions you mentioned, like, you have to adapt, you have to be flexible, you have to be reactive quite quick, especially if you extend so much. And then GK just trying to find the hole in the defense on site, maybe trying to get on site quickly. If you can show you can fall back and react to that accordingly, then Psychopatas will match GK. I'm sure of that.
And when it comes to that flexibility of these rosters, it's so important. As you said, we've already said, you're playing a best of 5 tonight. You're not just playing one map, you're playing a possible maximum there of an unlimited number of rounds, right? You have to keep things on the pace, and you're going to be looking to these players that perform really, really well on a consistent basis to carry you through this one. Now, one thing I do want to highlight as we see the team stats here for GK is obviously Skipper has just taken a break from competitive Siege for personal reasons. So Eagle is going to be playing within GK. I believe he's been their coach throughout the whole year, so he's going to be well versed with how the boys play, what their strategies are like. But the rest of the team, they're no strangers to good performances, right?
Yeah, exceptional, to be honest. Like, especially Rexon here with a KD of 1.5, holding that throughout the tournament. Like, these many matches, that's impressive. And also, the rest of the guys, like, all of them are positive. Like, that's nothing you see all the time, even if a team is in the grand finals. And yeah, when we have a look on the survive rate there, these are like the numbers in percentage. If you see 36% or 41%, they don't really look high, but they're on a very good level. They are quite high. And Yeah, we just see no one there is dipping. Like no one there is like always dying first and having impact on the round probably. But the team is stable. They are consistently throughout their roles throughout all of these games.
And when you watch GK back, the reason why I feel that survival rate for them is so low is because they'll often send a player in to go for a hero play. They'll send someone in, it's normally Rexen, sometimes it's Packball as well. You get someone going in to go for a massive hero play, to act as almost this catalyst, right? They go in and go for a massive flank, a massive insertion in deep into enemy territory. They go for something huge and they'll often get the reward paid off for them. Sure, it costs them their life, but that initial action sets themselves up for success. And if we flip things over towards the other side now, take a look at how Psychopatas have been looking so far throughout this whole tournament. You're going to see a slightly different stat line start to emerge, all things considered, from them. Looking at how Psychopatas have been playing this tournament significantly, it is different. The stats, the numbers, they're not going to be quite as flashy. Pulse Forever, they do drop a little bit below those positive stat lines, but the rest of the team want to make up for it, don't they?
Yeah, and we see, like, as we talked about in the survival rate, some outliers, like some are higher than in GK, for example. And on the other hand, of course, if you lose more maps on the way to getting to the grand final, your KDs, etc., will suffer a little bit, which we just see in comparison. But nonetheless, nothing to worry about in a way where you have to say, oh, we just have one guy, he has to be on shields because he can't fight back. So all these people are able to fight each other, and everyone is ready to make great plays. And especially on Psychopatas side, they have the confidence that they play in their lineup, opposed to GK, who have to play with someone filling in a spot on kind of short notice, I would say. And yeah, that can bring in the gunfight context a little bit more confidence, and then a little bit more stats wise. Yeah.
Things are certainly going to change, right? Having that almost substitute player in, Eagle hopping into the roster, replacing Skipper out. Whether that's a permanent solution, whether GK are looking for a fifth, we don't know. But in terms of statistics for the entire tournament so far, I've got to be honest with you, I'm looking at these one, and there's not a lot of surprises here. Chalet Club, Nighthaven, they're three of the most popular maps for a good reason. And you look at the ban maps, I'm not seeing any surprises there, to be honest.
Yeah, sadly, me neither. Like, I'm a big fan of some of these maps on the right side, especially Skyscraper and Lair, and I'm very excited to say that we might see some of them.
It's a best of 5, right? We are going to see the majority of these maps. Sure, we could go really, really boring and get the 5 most picked maps. We could get a Chalet Club, Nabs, and the Consulate and Neutral Bank. That would be a bit boring. I don't think we're going to see that today. GK especially have a very wide map pool. They've recently brought Lair into their map pool, and they have become insanely prevalent on it within the T2 scene. If you ask me, in amongst our EU T2 teams, they're one of the best up there as well. And looking at the overall league statistics yet again for operator bans, it's more of the same, more of what we're used to. There's nothing here that's an outlier to the norm, I'd say.
Yeah, I would agree to that, definitely. Like, we will see these teams, especially in the beginning, I would say, use more conservative bans, and then knowing each other, like, of course, the teams know each other, but especially throughout the best of 5, knowing, okay, today, someone's really good on that operator. If it's a shield or some Ying or stuff like that, you will ban it out, maybe, just to get them off their comfort. But especially for the first few maps, I think we'll see standard bans for these teams.
We're probably going to be seeing the default bans in terms of operators, in terms of maps as well. So let's jump ahead and go and take a look at those. As well, some team stats between these two, right? Because you look at all of these numbers and they very much lean towards GK. Only thing that doesn't is that survivability you mentioned earlier on.
Yeah, and that can be the difference, because especially when you're on defense, when you have patience and let your opponent make the mistakes, you can win a few rounds here and there. And of course, I can't say right now if that's a play for Psychopatas, because as you mentioned, they want to extend, and extending is not the way to survive in general. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, very close stats altogether.
If you stretch yourself out thin, Geeky will cut you into tiny, tiny little pieces. And if it's going to be one of the players on Geeky, it is going to be Rexen. We've grabbed the two best performing players from either side and thrown them into a little bit of a head-to-head here, going against one another. And I love to see these statistics fall out on paper here. Rexen, he has an almost 1 kill per round. That is an insane statistic to hold over a tournament as long as this.
Yeah, insane. Like, also, like, 150 kills to 100 deaths. Like, that's insane. It's a +50. You rarely see that in any tournament from any player. And yeah, Primim got the 39 survival rate here for him. That's the key point for maybe him to help his team more, like staying alive longer. Not necessarily more rounds, but staying alive longer and having like more impact in rounds in general, like because he's more alive.
I want to give Prim a shout out as well. Prim, I was watching back the semi-final game to qualify Psychopaths to this spot. Prim went huge. Final map of the grand final, he went 18-5. So many of these numbers come from that match. He went absolutely huge to get his team to this point. Now, hopefully, can have a similar performance today to get himself over the finish line. So let's dive ahead, get ahead things here and see where we're going to be heading to next. Let's take a look at our maps, see what we're going to be heading to, where we're going to be battling things out here. Are there any early expectations? As we've already said, it's a best of 5. We have to see 5 maps being played. And in terms of textbook for these two teams, I would say this is pretty much exactly that.
Yeah, I'm a little bit. The only thing that's caught me off guard there is that Geeky. Well, let me see if I am getting off caught by myself right now. Because, for Psychopaths, one of their worst maps. Or their worst maps are Cafe and Consulate. So you could expect Geeky to pick one of them in the first round, so they aren't able to ban it. But altogether, you always have to be comfortable, especially when you start a best of 5. You want to be comfortable on the first map, and if they're not really feeling Cafe or Consulate here to start the game, that's pretty understandable. And yeah, then it goes through, and Psychopaths gets the opportunity to ban it too. But altogether, I would say kind of expected map ban. And yeah, Skyscraper in the end. For Geeky, a strong point. For the stats I have, very good map for them.
Really, really spicy. And I want to give a quick shout out before we throw off to our casters here. I want to give a shout out to Cries, one of our other talent members here at Voltage Series. He predicted what the map veto was going to look like today and actually got spot on for every single ban and every single pick. Slightly different order, but in terms of what we're seeing and what we're going to be playing, spot on the mark. So Cries, if you're watching, shout out to you. Everyone else, just a little shout out and a follow. But I think that wraps about everything up for the pre-show there, One. Any predictions, any hot takes you want to put on the mic before we throw things off to our casters?
Like, I've got the take that Geeky wins this, so I would just see the first map, and then I will throw in some hot take if I get it.
We've got to see map number 1 first, and luckily for you folks at home, you're going to get a break from my voice, and unfortunately as well, you're going to have to say goodbye to One for a little while. We don't have just us on the desk today. We've got 2 phenomenal casters to take you through the action. Puffo Bob, Amguns, welcome to the stream. Boys, have a great time casting this one, because it is certainly going to be a banger.
Travis said that he was going to give you guys a break, but honestly, I wanted to hear more just a beautiful analyzation from the desk. But in general, here we are. Amguns, it's time to finish off season number 8. We have the reigning champions of T2, and we have Psychopaths as the, you could say, contenders. Amguns, you voted for Psychopaths, and I cannot wait to put that in your face today.
Someone has to carry the copium, Puffo. Grace said it in South Breach. There is copium out there. There is believers that Geeky can be defeated. And I feel like today's going to be the day where the gatekeepers of T2, as they've been coined, will get dethroned. This is one of the final T2 partner tournaments that we've got. And it all comes down today, Puffo, to this best of 5. We're guaranteed at least 3 maps. And what a spicy map it's going to be to kick things off on Bank for us here today, Puffo.
The big box of death. We love Bank. And then we also get to see Lair if we get to that third map. And if that's where it ends off, right, so be it. But in general, we have some fantastic matchups here. And again, it's going to be really exciting. So stay tuned for the entire time. And also, there's the giveaway, which was mentioned plenty of times. But Amguns, we're going into Bank. Let's talk about it, right? What do you think about Bank?
I think it all comes down to the defense. It's become a really attacker-sided map in recent times, and I want to see both teams be aggressive and get in each other's face to deny that map control. Because we know as soon as you get in the building, you start applying that pressure to those defenders, it can start to cause absolute carnage. So for me, it all comes down to the defense and how many rounds you can steal away from the attack on your defensive half.
That's going to be interesting to see. Like you said, we have Bank a bit more defensive sided, so we're going to have to see Cicapadas take away as much of that attack as they can. But in general, it's going to be a really long day. I hope we get to see Skyscraper, because we've seen how many times Skyscraper gets banned even on Voltage alone, and I've been missing Skyscraper. So again, teams, bring us the full length of the best of 5, please. But in general, I'm very excited. We have ourselves, again, Geeky and Cicapadas, who Cicapadas have beat Geeky in the past. It's not an impossible task, but we're going to need to be locked in. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, no doubt about it at all. Psychopaths are going to be looking for some revenge. Me and you got to cast a 7-2 to Geeky on Chalet. We also need to give a special shout out to the Veto, because Lair's in there as well, Dianic's favorite map.
Yeah, sure. She absolutely drools over that map, but going into map number 1, Bank is ready to go. And starting it off, Geeky versus Cicapadas. This will be Geeky's pick, so again, statistically, it should be theirs to take. But with these teams inside T2, you never get to really know, right? Even on our predictions, I might be wrong. Hey, maybe Cicapadas end up taking the trophy, but let's waste no time. We've been talking for a while. Let's get to the action and bans. Amguns, any predictions?
I want something outlandish. We see a lot of Ying, a lot of Grim being brought out or banned out recently by a lot of these teams because they're just so good in the executes. And it is going to be the Cade and the Capital banned out of Puffo. So the ban from Psychopatas heavily targeting the execute of Geeky here in the first ban.
Honestly, I'm not surprised. You know, when it comes down to hatches on this map, Cade's your go-to man. And like you said, execution operators, be it Grim, be it Ying, be it Capital, they're going to be off the board. But heading right on over to that second ban, we're going to be seeing, get the drum roll going, Clash and Ying. Well, you definitely got the Ying mark, but Clash, on the other hand, I kind of would have wanted to see her. Personally, you know, I'm a Clash enjoyer when it comes to watching. Playing against her, get me away from that.
And there's definitely been some counter-stratting, as you can see in the chat. Extensive use of Clash coming out from Psychopatas, all Voltage series long. So Geeky almost flexing a little bit that, you know, they've done their homework. They know sort of what operators to expect coming out from Psychopatas. But you can see the bans from Psychopatas Puffo. The Ying and the Capital are extremely important when it comes to the executes here on Bank. And it's one of those things where sort of once you've got everyone in position, you can cause some carnage, cause some craziness with those operators. But them not being available will make it a lot more difficult for Geeky to have the right tools to sort of break down these defenses.
Yeah, it will be a bit more difficult, but hey, let's take a look at the side here. We're going to be going bottom floor basement. This is, again, the go-to site for anyone playing this map. It's quite uncommon to not see it be the favorite pick. And over towards Cicapadas and the roster, we are going to be seeing what is quite unusual. You know, you get to see your smokes, you get to see your Tachankas quite commonly here, but this time around, Cicapadas not even with one besides the Goyo.
Yeah, we've only got the Goyo as well as one C4. We do have a couple of impacts on Primin if he can stay alive towards the end of the round, but they're not the most effective plant denial tool. But with the Cade being banned out here, I think Psychopatas, they're going to be looking to extend across the map. That's where the Fenrir and the Vigil can sort of come into a world of their own and burn a lot of the time and utility on the mid floor to then really allow the Goyo to deny the plant. But Puffer, if we look across the side of Geeky, they've got the fuse, and with the Cade banned, he can clear a lot of those Goyos and a lot of that utility very early on and basically uncontested, because they can just keep using the hatch to clear all that utility early.
Yeah, but there's going to be a bit of issues, right? We have Cicapadas with 2-3 players roaming up above. Primin on the Vigil as well. That's just Catastrophe waiting to strike. Although the attackers don't seem to be only prioritizing the top floor or the floor above in general. They're going to be approaching the site very directly. But holes being made by the Sledge. Hungry trying to contest some of these players. Throwing nades as well. We do have contention around this garage side. And our first kill here as Rexo is able to take out the main kill leader, Rexon himself.
And now we're in this 5v4 situation. They're just looking to hit the site direct and get active, get involved here.
Involved. Second one, Danu is able to strike from above, and you know, they do say that people have high ground. They're able to also kind of vantage off of it. Second kill already. All right, GK, it's not lost just yet, but even though some of these attackers have made their way right close onto site, they will have to fight their way to that leverage of having the plan down. Eagle able to battle another, swings towards main, but it's Hungry elsewhere to pick up and find that equalization. Now Hungry try to keep this team alive. Last one standing as lowered forever Zera to quite low standards of HP, and Danu right close on by him. But the fuse holds at the fuser. Has a shield as well. Quite nasty. Can put it to work. But with a pistol and a 1v2, it's going to be difficult to find yourself an advantage, to say the least. Keep up barriers there. Seems to be a mistake. And that's going to be finding an opening for Rorik to possibly plant it down. He's able to stick it. Now, you just have to battle out the final two. Laying down. Not expected, but Forever's able to find the last shot. And Psychopathus with the opening round.
And Psychopathus' strategy coming in really well here. Their extension, they had avenues to get back to site, to still maintain that site control, even though they weren't on the site itself. So GK sort of trying to find the path of least resistance to get into site and not really fight that roam game. But Psychopathus were ready for it. They understood they could still fight the site from above, and it's coming clutch for Psychopathus to start off really strong in this best of 5.
Danu's using the power of GK's high five against them, and they're not liking it too much. We might need to call in an admin to get this harassment out of chat. But jokes aside, yeah, Psychopathus, a bit dangerous towards that mid-execution game, right? They got endangered for a moment. Again, 2 drops from players really started to turn things around. But in general, they got the round. The defense is as how it should be. And now we go to this top floor with, oh god, we get to see an Echo.
Good, great, Puffer. What do you mean? Love to see Denial operators coming out. He is very scary, but that's what makes him so good. We like to see effective plant denial being used, because if we think back to sort of GK's plans, they use a lot of CEO executes to try and get the kit down near the breach. We've seen them bring Oso in the past, where they just plant the shield and they look to get that kit down, because this top floor pretty much lives and breathes off of that bomb going down. You need to repel him at some point if you're going for those CEO takes, and that's where the Echo can really come into a world of his own to just give you that buffer, that little bit of space, so you know where and when to fight the attackers when they go to repel into the bomb site.
Yeah, repel into the bomb site, and normally that's supported by the Ink. We don't have it, right? Although there are some elements on the attacking side we can start incorporating. The one thing that Psychopathus did not ban was Packable and his Ace, right? You can go towards this repel, you can find yourself easy breaches towards Banana Hallway, and of course, that can set up for a really good cutoff on the rotation. Rorik using that Rotera drone might not be able to find value. I think it was set up a bit just too early on. Although for now, again, GK, as they are known to be a bit more the aggressive and shock bursting of a team, we're going to play it safe.
And this is where we're getting really good value out of the Wamai as well, just burning a little bit of Kali utility and a little bit of time as well. But the Capital has also been banned out, currently used to clear, or very commonly used to clear, the position that you see Raxo playing in that janitor closet. The Capital is phenomenal at making sure C4s can't be thrown. So with that lack of utility, they're looking to negate some of these angles with the Aurora as they work this CEO execute. They've got everybody pretty much set up on these repels. And it's really going to come down to how well they can time Hungry and Eagle's utility on the Doki and Aurora to sort of allow themselves to get into the bomb site and make some progress in this attack.
Yeah, they're on these repels. That's great and all, but they still need to add an extra dimension to their step just to not repel in and get sprayed down. They need to have control over the square side, right? You have these head holds that you can kind of keep the defenders in check with, and in the meanwhile, also contest them while your attackers prioritize going in, planting the bomb, yada, yada, yada. Raxon, in the meanwhile, starting to feel himself. He's swinging out for battle. We also see some damage on Rexon has been delivered. A slap on the wrist, but not to worry for it now.
And this is the discipline from Psychopathus. So many times we see someone getting caught overextending. They don't understand the angles that they can play safely. And Psychopathus haven't fallen for that. They're just chilling out. They're waiting for GK to do something. And we get a mirror pocket tech coming in as well.
No way we get to see the smokes around, but Raxo just has a bit of an opening. He's not able to find the connection of shots. Second for Geeky, already starting to claim ground.
Where's Yiko?
The site, the plant is going down. There's nothing to deny it. And where's Coles' Yokai that you speak of? Well, Coles is in a bit of a sticky situation himself. He does get exchanged by Forever, but now it's 2 on Seeker and they have to fight against this full-on charge. Even Rorik managing to sneak his way into Janitor and might be able to cut Janu in just a moment here. Yep, no information, little to no detail, and Rorik able to find the final 2.
And the utility jump from Geeky is phenomenal. Smokes, Callies, the whole 9 yards thrown at Raxo's position was just so overwhelming. He wasn't able to counter the push, counter the repel in. And it's these bursts of aggression that our lovely analysts mentioned that has given Geeky that success. They've just decided 3, 2, 1, go. We have the control we need. We have the utility. We've got it in our pockets. We can throw it, get inside, get the kit down, and tie up the score 1-1.
1-1. It is what it is. Seeker right now. We saw some lovely things from them. Some in-the-minute adaptations, right? Raxo trying to put down the second mirror, even sneaking into the front line of the smoke, but he was exposed like the enemies were to him. And in a game of Siege, it's whoever shoots better that ends up getting the kill. So that's what we got to witness in that round overall, as Seeker now returned to the second round. But this time, Amguns, we're seeing a bit of a change on the operator side of things.
The Denari cookage we've got on those windows is scary, Puffo. I don't think there's any other way to describe this cursed setup that Primin has set up on these windows. But I think from Psychopatas, we just need to see a repeat on this bomb site. Some of the defender utility come into its own. I'm not sure where the Echo drones went. They've just dropped the Echo, so we're not going to be seeing him anymore. But Raxo in that key position, he still had a C4 in his back pocket. You can throw these safely over the top of these mirrors as well. So it's interesting that he went guns up rather than tossing out the C4, which would have been the perfect utility to deny the plant going down. But if we take a look at Geeky side as well, they brought a shield along this time, so we're going to have a real interesting battle of attrition between the change-ups in the lineups between both teams.
Get me away from shields, in general. In my matches and in comp matches, they are a terrifying force to be reckoned with, although they've been getting countered a bit more, and in general, you know, they've been getting used upon. In general, though, we go back to this and we're taking a look at Geeky. Utilizing that Kali, I think it's a fantastic aspect of this map. Seeker in the meanwhile, though, they are trying to extend themselves a bit down low as we see Primin on the bottom floor, quickly to be contested in any moment. 2 players spot each other, and Rorik is able to win out the battle, claiming the first kill of the round.
It's just brilliant use of effective drone work. They had cut-off drones, as you saw there, spread across the map, and that's just a freebie. And it's on the hard support as well, by the way, of Packball. Packball's like, I don't care from the hard breach. I've got full info. I'm going to get aggressive and get this kill. And that's what the power of these pre-placed drones let you do. Just by having that information available to you, basically get wall hacks to find that freebie.
Yeah. And I think that's why Seeker kind of took the Echo off. I think that's why the Echo also had a bit of a troublesome time in the previous round, right? Because Geeky are so proactive. They go up into your face and punch you harder than anything before. You don't have time for utility. That's what's so strong about them. But in these early phases of the round, they're kind of just in about. They're throwing in the utility of their own. They're trying to clear as much of you have. And information gathering is clearly not an issue for them.
It's really going to be interesting if these Callies cleared the Denaris. It looks like it's a brilliant counter to clearing this operator, so getting really good value out of an operator we don't really see very often. So really putting the Kali to work is going to negate a lot of this defender utility that Psychopatas were relying on to slow down the push of Geeky. But this round is building up to be very similar to the round previously. Started to put the chokehold on the defenders, cut off that defender rotate ability, and then clear this utility, get rid of the mirrors. However, this time we have a Warden sitting behind this mirror. He's got that C4 in hand. He can counter any smoke flashbang action that will be coming in as Geeky. Are we going to see another burst of aggression here from them?
Oh, the Warden going up against his match made in heaven, but he's backed up by Eagle, and that's going to be resorting in the second already falling. Rush it on in, sight should be yours. We also have support from Repel on all sides of the map. Eagle, Packball duel up to leave it to Seeker, and their final player, Janu, just can't withstand all the pressure, and it's the second round as Geeky take leverage.
And it is clinical, Puffo. Like, everything they do is calculated. Every operator has his purpose. It's, again, that 3-2-1. Take some notes, everybody watching, because when you basically have everybody on the same page, you get phenomenal results. Eagle backing up his blitz just completely opened up the round, and Geeky well-worked executes on that top floor.
Well, We're already a quarter through. Why is time flying by so fast? It's supposed to be a good day today. We have Halloween, we have the grand finals. How much better can it get? Well, we get to see these bands. The mirror, I understand, but handguns, we haven't seen much of this class yet.
He was used on basement in the first round of the game, but I think Geeky, we talked about it, the analysts talked about it as well. Geeky have a lot of these pocket strats, if you want to call them that, to sort of rob rounds away from the defense. And Glaz is generally used by Geeky in a lot of those pocket strats. So Psychopaths may be doing their homework, understand that we might be seeing a lot more Glaz coming out in these next few rounds compared to what they've seen previously, and that's why they've gone for that target ban. Obviously, going for the full rotate, they are going back to basement as this site comes available again. And this is where Glaz was used, so it could be thinking, we want to make sure Glaz isn't available on that cover when we want to defend basement again.
Yeah, I just wish I wouldn't see him allowed for the slaughter in the bottom floor being teased by the enemies. But in general, he's not longer going to be used. And, well, Geeky, they're going to have to face the bottom floor this time around. Last time, Psychopaths were able to get away with it just by the bare skin of their teeth with that final 2v1 to the fuse. This time around, I'm not sure Geeky are going to be allowing such a privilege to pass on by. And we have ourselves a similar lineup on the attack. The defense are starting to consider trying to shut out a bit more of these possible plants this time around with the smoke as well.
And you saw the red pings to Popo from the side of Geeky on those pre-placed drones. That's to let Rexon start hunting on this roam. I think they're going to go for a much more traditional take this time around. No, Premier's got something to say about it as he shuts down the hard bridge too, as Packball is deleted from spawn. And what a way to start off your fourth round when you want to tie up the score 2-2.
And backing up as a roamer trying to waste time, that's a suggestion for good old Prim, and he wants more. He's just starting to feel the crave. He already took out the Habana. Well, now Forever is trying to challenge out the shield. We see Rorik back on the shield once more, this time backed up as well from square side. Tries to go for that pedicure shot on a couple of these players. He barriers himself off and isolates the shield for a moment. Now Rorik's taking damage from the sidelines. This is going to be a real rough round for Geeky if it continues down this line, because 3 have been already done and dusted. Rexon finally gets the event shot through, but look at the damage that's already been dealt.
And this is where we really need to see some discipline from the side of Psychopaths. Geeky are a phenomenal team and can find their way back into these rounds at any given moment. So just hit back to site, just cuddle with each other in corners, and wait for the remaining Geeky players to come to you. Ooh. As that's not what we see from Rexo, as he takes a swing, doesn't find his kill, and this is what we're talking about, Puffo. Rounds like this, we can't let slip away.
Oh, look, Psychopaths, you've got your 3 kills. Back off, you're playing against Geeky. Don't forget that. You are up against Hungry and Rexon. Again, this time, Rexon will live for a bit longer, so he also will have a say in the matter of how the round will end up going. But in general, like we said, Psychopaths are now playing a bit more of a passive game. They faced off the full Geeky on the top floor. They've gotten themselves a bit of leverage. They're back on site. Also have the smoke, which is great, but hatches are getting open. There's verticality being established, and Geeky are starting to slowly set themselves up for this execution, well, with the 2 players they have remaining.
And this is really good stuff. We just need Coles to sit in this corner. We can play off of his contact. There is not really any way for Geeky to force the issue. We have so much defender utility to lean on and just wait for Geeky to make their move. There is a nade in the back pocket of Hungary, which could be used to sort of dislodge one of these players, but this is where Psychopaths just take a deep breath, and these are situations you've won countless of times. Just keep banking on your utility, and the Goyo Fire is not going to help the situation either.
Maybe that slipped their mind. They didn't account for all this utility to be stuck through the server side. They cooked up nicely, these final 2 players, but now they have to get through a barricade of smoking gas, and that's going to be difficult to say the least. In the meanwhile, though, you're also going to be left stranded with a couple of seconds. Rexon just being able to slip on by to that default spot, but nope, second babe there will deny him, and I think Psychopaths can comfortably say that they've been able to claim this round. Maybe the KD game is at stake, but Rexon taking ticks of damage, still trying to lock it down. Final milliseconds, and it seems like he will be confirming it. This is still not done yet. Oh, 2 kills for Hungry.
No
The third is there. And Geeky have claimed themselves the round. They have milliseconds, but they still had it in their pocket.
It's a 3v1. The bomb is going down, but somehow Geeky, the cover is just too good, as this shows that Basic Siege can still be the king as they get the kit down. They bait the response out of Psychopaths, and they just not timed it well, Puffo. There's 3 guns up against 1, and this is why, if we had that extra body, if Raxo could have made it back to site, this could have been a very different story, as Hungry is taking no prisoners as he finds everybody here, Puffo.
Hungry's playing a game of chess. They're offering him up checkers, and he's just taking them like dominoes, one after another. And that's the third round for Geeky. We were on about how this is supposed to be more defender lenient. You know, how you really need these rounds. Again, the one that Psychopatas have won was quite close, but now Geeky have drawn out the half in the worst case scenario. That is where you do not want to be found as Psychopatas. You need to find a way to break the streak, because again, this was a round that should have been Psychopatas, but to not dwell on the past too much. We're looking forward to a brighter future, right? We head downstairs once more. This time, we added Tachanka to the lineup and make sure that does not happen again.
I really like the response from Psychopatas. We're almost going back to basics. We've tried the roam game twice on this bomb site. It's worked once. Well, it should have worked once, but it hasn't worked out the second time. So we're going to switch it up completely. Now we're going to capitalize on the plant denial. You said we were looking for the smokes, the Tachankas, the Goyos. Now we are going full plant denial mode with the Tabaro on top, just to waste a little bit of time on the hatches that will inevitably get opened up by Geeky. With the K banned, those are guaranteed to be open, but it doesn't mean we can't waste 20-30 seconds of those hatches getting open, which then allow the plant denial operators to really come into a world of their own.
And from the previous round as well, right, we see that Geeky are still a bit cautious. They still are a bit felt up about the roaming presence, because it cost them 3 players that time around, right? And they don't want to let another slip up like that happen once more. So they're going to be checking each nook and cranny to make sure no roamer passes their information and their drone work on the meanwhile. Psychopatas, like we see according to the roster, their intention isn't to extend out, but maybe just to deny Geeky from stepping foot into the site in the first place.
We've got some crazy Denari setups coming in here from the side of Psychopatas, as they want to make sure there is no backstab or execute coming in from that vault side. As you see, pretty much all of Denari's gadgets committed to stopping that vault drop from coming in. But Psychopatas, as per their strategy, they are sitting fully on site, and they're going to give around a minute 30 to the side of Geeky, maybe only a minute 10 once these Tabaros are done and dusted, for Geeky to work with and to force and execute. They need to decide pretty much ASAP, Geeky, where they want to get that kit down, and that needs to be driven by Eagle on the Blackbeard. He's got the ability to take the space, to be able to point out where the space is and where this execute could go down.
The first time we get to see a Blackbeard, and this time around it's 2 shields. If one isn't enough, you better bring on that second. But Psychopatas on the site, we see Forever denying out the hatches for coming out to be breached for just another moment. Nice little freeze nades while in the preparation. Geeky have set themselves up towards the server side once more. They've been quite proactive around it. It's been their go-to for most of these rounds. On the meanwhile, as hatches are being opened up again, Psychopatas just don't want to offer up bodies too early.
And the question's going to be, do we have the lineups to deny this plant? It looks like the Chunka's right on the money as Fuse starts to get tickled by this fire. But can the side of Geeky get to somewhere where the fire can't reach them? There's smokes, fire, and double fire in the Goyo, and they're finding that all of this utility is hitting them hard in the face and just keeping that clock from ticking down.
Hard in the face, so what do? You send someone to shoot him in the back. You send someone from a sideline to make sure that these gadgets aren't as easily thrown or with as much confidence. The death mark has been set. Raxel being spotted or taken early damage. Now, although main hasn't been fully approached yet, it's down to the final 10 seconds, and there's still plenty of Shimikas in your pocket. As your planter goes down, it is traded out by Eagle, but again, it's down to the case that matters most. 2 kills each way, but in the end, you have to stick it through, and with no player to support your final last one, it should be around for Psychopatas. He's able to stick it, but just no time remaining. Coles has already approached the final remaining. Hungry falls, as this will be a second round for Psychopatas.
This is a big, big round, Puffer, and it's played really well from the side of Psychopatas. They were just patient. They made the right decisions. They forced Geeky to come to them, because you saw Geeky on the drones. They had that drone just below the hatch on the red hallway, and they were like, nobody is here. Where are they? And that's because Psychopatas understand they can just yeet their utility from deep in the site and bank on it to make the side of Geeky's life uncomfortable, and they broke the rhythm. They've kept that round difference within 1, so this will be a big, big round coming in on their last defense to try and take that even scoreline going into their attacking half.
Going into their attacking half, the last one here, Psychopatas, they've won below. They've seen how unsuccessful the top floor can be if not played to perfection, so, well, Amguns, for the first time around, we're going to be going right to that middle ground.
And again, the middle ground relies heavily on a top floor defense. We see a lot of teams, and I'm sure Geeky are going to be using this strategy as well. They start out with a top floor clear. You can work vertical across the archives and reception side to then sort of set yourself up for a hatch drop or a kitchen execute later on. And I think Geeky, they've got the magic sauce. They're going to be relying on Rorik on this Blackbeard to help them clear this top floor. But that's where Raxo, with some of these pre-placed cams, maybe with a couple of players baiting for their teammates below, can we catch Geeky out of guard by introducing some kind of shenanigans on this top floor?
Something, a bit of an element of surprise, we could say. I guess we're going to have to let time tell us that. But you talked about it, right? It's going to be this top floor extension that we need to see. Now, Sycopatus, they can throw punches. They can throw hard punches. We've seen that also in the past. Well, Geeky, on the other hand, the response might be a bit awkward. That boogie was sent nowhere. A good attempt,
Good thing you
for
can pick them
effort.
up, right? It's a good thing you can pick the boogies back up again.
That's the positive side of things. But look, Geeky, they're looking to take this top floor. That's a positive. They're also looking to take it around lobby. Raxon, although, needs to consider that might be a difficult thing to do when you have Raxo looking around your whereabouts, picking him up. Eagle, on the other hand, does find calls and returns. And honestly, I would say that's a worth investment because now the smoke is lost.
Great trade coming in from the side of Geeky. They found a huge pick, but Sycopatas, they found one of their own. And look at the confidence coming in from Forever here, Puffer.
Yep, just going at it. I mean, if we're not going to be there to stop him, if his team's not going to be there to stop him, who will? Eagle's going to be able to stop Danu, that's for sure. But again, it seems these defenders have been a bit locked out, so they're going to have to retreat for now, then either to flush one of these down. Primin able to find Hungry as a second for Raxo, just sticking around quite, you could say, traditional to this lobby side, and found his second kill already. Geeky find themselves once more encumbered by the loss of players on their side, although they have dealt a bit of damage themselves.
And Sycopatas embracing the fragging nature of this map. Geeky have left holes in their attack. They've left a couple of isolated 1v1s. And when you've got gunners like Raxo and Primin in this roster, that's what happens. But Ram's just inside here, Puffo.
Eagle, you go! Well, not so much, you know. An eagle can fly so far until his wings are shot out by Raxo, and now it's all down to Rorik. Has a drone, has a bit of someone to watch his back, at the very minimum. Yeah.
The Red Bull only takes you so far. I love the confidence. They tried to give him some wings, but they shut it down immediately, just leaving the Blackbeard all alive, and we can't count him out. It's a Blackbeard in a 1v3. Will he be able to make anything happen? Oh my god, he's found one
What
too.
a flick onto Raxo, but honestly, he's been on low HP. He's been kind of bleeding from the very start of the round, so Rorik's able to even odds out a bit more, but not still just yet. Has two more players, although again, we've seen some of these Geeky individuals pull off some mischievous plays in the past. Again, a 3K by, I believe it was Hungry in that clutch situation down below, and then even the fuse in a 1v2. Almost might seem impossible, but with Geeky, you really never truly know. Primin, Forever, playing together, trying to establish a crossfire and playing it as safe as they can. They know that Geeky are quite the adversaries, there's no denying that, but at certain points, you just have to know when to give up. Primin's able to find the last shot, and this will be a defender's round to claim.
And from 3-1 down, Puffo, Sycopatas have done a great job of tying up the score. And my take was going to be, it's all about the defensive half for the side of Sycopatas on Geeky's map pick. And I think they've done really well to go toe-to-toe with the side of Geeky. Momentum's going to be in their favor too, as that's 2 back-to-back rounds for the side of Sycopatas.
Yep, but now they go on to the attack, meaning we also get ourselves new bans. Will there be much of a change on the Cade side of things? No, we will still get rid of the Cade. I think it's a bare minimum on a map like Bank. But the Monty,
I mean, Geeky have shown that they are happy to bring all the shields on their defense, but they definitely do not want to give Sycopatas the opportunity to bring the shields against them. I don't blame them, Puffo. The shields are in a very interesting spot at the moment where a lot of teams are utilizing them. But the Sense ban, I think, is the most funky ban, I think is fair to say, out of the... What a shot from Raxo, by the way, Puffo. What is that?
Big
What's
ups
he
to
done? That's crazy.
Raxo. Put him in my ranked matches and I'll finally get out of bronze. But yeah, the stance is a bit funky, but I think it kind of shows that Geeky... I don't know who it is, but I know Geeky like their Warden. Okay, Geeky really like their Warden, and Sense is kind of the only direct counter. They can play around the Capitale and the Ying as long as they have a Warden.
And Bank is actually one of those maps where Sense is probably the most useful. If there was a map you want to bring the Sense on, it would be here on Bank. He can be really effective in the kitchen area because you can just walk a shield across into kitchen and get the bomb down with the cover of the sense. On the basement as well, you can get some really crazy lineups to sort of cut off all of the lines of sight the defense has from the deep in the site onto those diffuse spots, as well as the top floor. You can sense off a lot of different important angles. So really creative stuff coming out from GK here.
100%. Now, as the roles are reversed, we get to see how this is going to be affecting us. The Glaz is once more back on the pickup, and I imagine Sicopatis are not going to be afraid to pull out everything they can. GK, like you said, back to the basics. Not as much or as heavily as Sicopatis were leaning in towards that end part of the first half with their Tachankas, Smokes, Goyos, all three, but we still get 2 out of the picks. And also, we've been seeing this Arunian play, and I'm going to be honest with me, is it the ACOG?
I think it might have just a little something.
Just a tiny bit.
The tiny bit something to do with the ACOG. As GK are bringing 2, they've also got the Tabaro, which we saw greatly utilized by Sicopatis as well.
Oh, Hungry's picking up where I believe it was Raxo left off on the Valkyrie lobby side. Has yellow pings as well. His teammates on the cameras. Love to see the lovely chemistry, but trying to pick off some of these players might be a bit risky. Again, they are joining themselves in quite nicely and safely. They want to make sure that they can get to their objective safe and sound, but it's Hungry here to deny it. He's going to stay still at his position, wait for his prey to step into his line of sight. But for now, Primin seems to be fighting a similar battle, although smoking himself off. I mean, let's Hungry know that he's there, but Hungry can now for just step away, maybe overtake Packbull's position because Coles, well, he's taken out the so-called player. Rex in a bit of damage his way, and open area seems to be getting quite clustered at the moment.
Aruni is digging deep. Rory's going to find one back onto Forever as well. That's the Capital taken off the board. As Sicopatis really taking their time to clear this run game.
Oh no, but he's getting pushed up. 2 players on a single lone shield, and Primin won't be there in time to catch the action. It's rather Hungry to sneak right beneath his nose in the same room with a swing to find a second. And now Sicopatis are left down with a lonely 2. Danu and Cole is trying to make the most of what they can. Again, they're given some of these 1v1s, but going up against players like Hungry, I wouldn't be too confident about winning them. The down is there, triple for Hungry. And Cole's on a stranded island surrounded by sharks who have black eyes and a real good taste for blood.
And this is just down to the cohesion from GK as they find the last kill of the round, as well as Coles will fall. But it's the mind games, Puffer, that GK are playing. They get aggressive on the Blackbeard, or the player on top square, which I think was that player. But then it triggers the aggression from the lobby side, which they're also ready for. So GK are just firing on all cylinders and almost understanding Sicopatis' playstyle really well. So this aggression just turned around on his head.
Poor Raxo, he even sent out the smoke above, and again, it's just this GK sense. They know some of these players are isolated, and if they can do a certain task within a certain amount of time, just a short time span, they know they're getting away with it, and possibly still luring some of these players in, as we just saw. But GK now tipping the scales in their favor. They have a round above Sicopatis as they're heading to the top floor, and we saw the clash banned out in the first half. This time around, he goes right onto her. He's not wasting a second.
He's not wasting any time at all, because you basically get a moving mirror with the Clash. It's the same job as the Echo as well. It gives you live information on if players have hopped in on those CO windows. Anywhere that push is coming from, you can rotate that operator around to just provide a really difficult challenge for Sicopatis to deal with. But I love to see in the lineup of Sicopatis, they've got the Kali as well. They're going to bring the Capital that hasn't been banned out against them. So they do have a lot of tools to dislodge a lot of the key positions that the defense rely on to hold on to this top floor.
Hold on to this top floor. Rotation still being there's time. Sicopatis pulling out a similar lineup we saw from GK. Again, this is quite standard. The Kali, we've seen what damage she can do to utility and just playing off these windows alone, but we don't see that many execution operators, or at least as much as there are offered, right? We can still see the Ying, we could see something like it, but no, I think a Capital for now will suffice.
He's just phenomenal, right? It's all going to be about what Raxo can use his utility with. And having the 2 fires and the 2 smokes, we can cut off a lot of the important lines of sight, as well as those key positions that the defenders can rely on. Janitor is obviously the big one. Raxo can throw, or could have thrown C4s from that position. And we've seen that we have a setup from the side of GK in and around that position as well. With the Packbull on the Echo, that's another bit of utility we need to make sure we deal with, as forever just removing Rorik immediately and taking a DMR off the board.
Yeah, more valuable asset, but most importantly, the first kill here, opening contact, and you still have plenty of go, but it's a good beginning here for Sikapatis again, shutting out Rorik, who's been quite the player this time around. 7 kills already stacked up, 1 kill per round till now, but won't be able to get another this one, that's for sure. Sikapatis still setting up. Again, they're not going to be going hasty about it, and they don't seem to be applying too much pressure on Square side either. They haven't made much of a step in the building in general. And that's what Bank allows, right? That's what you being able to appear right next to site. That's
kill early. The rest of the players understand they need to be patient. The clock is going to keep ticking. There is a minute left, but we still have 3 smokes, the clash, and the echo to be able to deny this plant when it comes in. Psychopatas really love this slow, methodical style of play as they want to get everything perfect when it comes to this execute.
We've never seen this Nook before, at least in successful fashion. Walking a banana, you're exposed. Oh, the shoulder there beat you out, and Backball's able to get away with it because of a couple of missed bullets. Cole's taking damage, is able to fight back, however. Ego falls in his hands, and now Geeky, even though they've been able to return a kill, it's quickly traded back. Sikapatis have themselves the leverage once more, but the attacking side need to make a move now.
They need to get themselves in the building, get the Capital bolts flying, get the flashbangs and smokes going as well, because we just need to get in the building here, Puffo.
We need to get in the building. We haven't been doing that, and that's the point of the attacking side. So Repel start working around it because Geeky know your mistakes are starting to let loose through. And Hungry still has all 3 babes. Packball on low, but not our Raxo taking a slight bit of damage, so you don't want to overexpose yourself. But the Planter still needs to make headway, as although the Cali in the backlines could be a fantastic backstab. Hungry taking great damage. Coles is able to finish the job then and there, the final few seconds. And if no one's holding them down, thankfully they are. Sikapatis, the cleanup crew comes on through, and it's going to be around right back to them as we see another equalization.
It's the 10-second meta. We're bringing it back, Puffo. Psychopatas, they want to use every second available to them to make sure they're doing what they need to. And I really appreciate it from Psychopatas. You're playing such a talented roster. You need to make sure you take that time to make sure everyone is in the right place and to get yourself over the line. The round could have really opened up if this Nock managed to win her fight. But in the 4v3, it's calm, cool, and calculated from the side of Psychopatas to keep the score even. And what a result it will be if Psychopatas can take Geeky's map pick away from them.
%. That definitely will be good. Again, really confident. And then they also head on to their own map. Oh, it could not get better, because if then Sikapatis claim their own map as well, it's series points already. It's going to get quite dangerous. But hey, let's focus on this map again. Geeky only got equalized. They're not out just yet. It's still quite ahead, or quite a path until it's. So now on to the defense from Geeky. First time, middle ground. We get to see this open area, and we persist with the clash. I actually really am thinking the clash didn't find as much value as we would have hoped for in the previous round, so maybe that can be changed this time around.
I think Psychopatas, they keep bringing the Capital because they keep seeing the clash. The drone work is really effective in the prep phase to make sure they can keep seeing which operators Geeky are bringing, and again, making sure they have the right tools to deal with it. I sound like a broken record because we talk about it every stream, but if you just don't see what the defense is bringing, then in what world are you supposed to be able to counter what they're doing? So the drone work is really good from the side of Psychopatas, and that's what's letting them counter the clash, for example, and some of the other operators that Geeky keep bringing for these setups.
Oh, Sikapatis putting Primin on the Nook once more. Again, these Nooks have really loved their lobby sides, but it's never really worked out now, has it? Hopefully we're going to be able to change that this time around, but for now, let's focus on our main objective, shall we? Sikapatis trying to repel themselves in. It doesn't seem like it's too heavily fortified, or at least you repel alone. A couple of shots, though, from, I do believe that's Rorik around Janitor. Calls are coming out, so that's going to be extra information for the attackers to work off of. But once more, Sikapatis are at a similar stalemate where they just can't find the breakthrough.
But they have cleared this top floor. They've now got the drone work on it as well to understand that this position has been cleared out. But we need to keep an eye on Rorik. Remember, he is I forgot now, Skopos. He can, at any moment's notice, get himself back onto that top floor. But Nock, she's just managed to sneak her way in. And can she be the opening for the side of Psychopatas?
It could be a great opening if so, right? This is something the Cicapadas have worked off of in the past. Again, they get that opening round, then they go for the refrag game, and it's ADIOs. A C4 from below, though. GK are going to be denying that with Hungry finding the second as well. Square seems to be his playground. Forever is able to find a kill in the sandwich of blue. On the kill feed, maybe returning one, but again, you've exchanged out that RAM. Verticality will be limited, if not even out of consideration. The Cicapadas now closing in on site. You spotted the clash. Same goes both ways, and Packbull is holding down this main side.
The Capital Balls just in hand, trying to get this clash to commit to putting the shield down as we get a little bit of a face-off. A little bit of damage taken out towards Packbull here, but again, it's Hungry. He's just been popping off on this 3KD, been the hero for his team once again.
Oop, calls up from above. High ground once more. Hungry will fall. Didn't expect there to be many more players on the attacking side after we saw the catastrophe Hungry taking care of too. But hey, he's bitten back by it. Now the attackers are going to once more need to make a move. They don't hold the same advantage as they did earlier as Geeky keep on swinging. They're pushing Eagle forward to play this aggressor, this initiator, as he has still two more babes. Peek out for a moment. Your head spotted. Two taps, and Geeky have found themselves a 3v1 spot for their leverage. As Cicapadas only on forever to remain, and this might be the moment where Geeky once more establish that connection of being around above and the overhand pressure of trying to reach match point as soon as they can.
This is a good round to lose. It's only 5-4. We've still got a round to salvage that match point, and for this time around, it's just that phenomenal play from Hungry. They almost baited that the top floor was clear. They had the C4 from below to counter that verticality that Sokopatas wanted to utilize. But the shots Hungry is hitting right now, how are you supposed to counter this guy just beaming people?
You beam harder. That's the only thing I can give you. You have to beam harder. It is an FPS game by the end of the day, so I'm not necessarily wrong. Although Hungry, I mean, look at him. Not just beaming, but
this as well.
His sound call. He's snappy with it. He knows what he's doing. He does get taken out from the grave he made himself on that top square, but in general, he kind of set a precedent for Geeky in that round.
And now that the clash has been banned out as well, the ace being banned out for side of Sokopatas, both utilized extensively by both teams. This is what's going to be down to Geeky. What do they have in the locker to now adapt now they don't have the clash? They were getting a lot of value, especially on that bottom floor, or on the mid floor, sorry, we just saw in Kitchen. It was phenomenal stuff coming out around the shield, but now that we don't have that utility, what do we bring instead? We've now got a Bandit to Borrow combination for this top floor, which will be very interesting to see where they want to use it, and it's more than likely going to be used to keep this Kanto wall shut. If that wall can't get open, Sokopatas aren't able to cut off some of those important rotates they were utilizing in the previous attacks, and that could just be the difference maker for the side of Geeky.
I respect the Bandit. I really like when people bring out the Bandit here. I think it's really important. And again, look at how much the defenders are going to be able to move, right? They set it down the Azami, a couple of shields towards this long haul side, and they really do have a bit more movement. So honestly, blessings to them. But again, Geeky, we are looking to reach match points. Cicapadas, on the other hand, to deny it. As we head into the round, we're once more on this top floor. Well, Cicapadas, they really did end up going to those final few seconds. Geeky could use that against them this time around by making sure that in those final 10 seconds, they struggle the most.
Geeky, I think, have now adapted to that attacking style of Sokopatas. They understand that Sokopatas are a 10-second meta team. They really want to make sure they have everything in place. They have all the tools in the right hands, in the right moments to make these executes work. And now Geeky have understood we can just need to sit back and be ready for that moment. As long as it takes, we just got to be patient, understand that this is the playstyle we're coming up against. But this way, if we're Sokopatas, can we throw something into the mix? Can we cause some carnage outside of those last 10 seconds to sort of throw off Geeky's pacing? As it looks like, now that we have the thermite being brought out, we might even be even slower than we were before.
100%. Cicapadas have also started spotting a bit of this utility. They do recognize that Geeky are now bringing the yokais a bit more actively. They have a drone in sight. They've set Primin down below to also clear out of these roamers, meaning that not only do Geeky get limited to this top floor, at the same time, once Cicapadas go in and fully send it through, they're going to be ready for it. But even on square side, they seem to be troubled a bit. The Yokai is making this breach a whole lot more difficult, and here's a shot that could be taken. You do trace it for a moment. Colts is down to half, but Hungry not being able to finish the job will just leave him to kind of bail out for now.
And we're hitting this minute mark, and we don't have the breaches open yet. We should get at least one open, as I'm not sure if Smoke managed to shoot out the other thermite charge. But this is great time denial coming in from the combination of the operators on the side of Geeky as they get the opening, because that Yokai is going to be constantly feeding information to the defending side.
Oh, that's forever, right? That's the Osa gone, meaning your shield of protection to get yourself in that site a bit more clearly might not be as available. But Colts falls as well, and where was that from? Eagles taking these long shot, and he's found himself 2 already from his last call. He can still have 5 to go, and are they going to play aggressive or just trying to win out this round? It matters not, because it seems like it's going to go for the latter either way. Rorik with a shot combined with Eagles' aggression is able to pick up on the third, and Sikapatis now backed off with a bit of desperation calling out. The down is there, but can you finish it out? You're trying to find that second on the elevator swinging into you. Danu just find the head tap onto Hungry. But we talked about those final 10 seconds. This is where Sikapatis always managed to find themselves. Last time, not as much of a struggle. This time, Geeky are a bit more prepared for it. But Primit breaks it down. 2v2. You have little to no time, but the Yokai's heading towards the diffuser's way. Danu gets the kill, but gets denied. Yeah, that's the Yokai. It really sucks to be in that moment, but Geeky were ready for it.
I mean, it was very close. Psychopatas forced the issue. They were doing everything they could to stop back or hold back the match point. But again, that's the power of the Echo. When you've got him available and you keep him alive, he's just a phenomenal operator in these low time situations. But the round was won way earlier from Geeky. It was the pressure they applied to the square side. They didn't let Psychopatas get set up in this square area. And as Packpool dropped in the chat, if that default cam was still up, that's what lets Geeky be aggressive and stop Psychopatas from setting up for this basic take.
Geeky really always managed to surprise us. They set the smoke downstairs to hunt down for long angles towards square, and it honestly did good work, right? As you mentioned, it was about a minute remaining. The plant hasn't gone on down just yet. At the same time, there was a smoke being a thorn in the side of Sikapatis, preventing it from going down any earlier. So Geeky really do take it all into their consideration, and they distract Sikapatis just enough to kind of have that thought of the Yokai lurking around disappear, because Sikapatis were a bit too busy with keeping themselves alive and trying to take out Geeky. It was a good valid attempt by the final 2 players on the attacking side, but nonetheless, we reach match point. Now Sikapatis need 2 rounds in a row, or we are going to map 2 already.
It's time to really dig deep and get ourselves a couple of rounds to force us into that infinite overtime. We are in this best of 5. These rounds, this overtime can take as long as it needs until one team comes out on top. And finally, Psychopatas, they've changed up the pacing a little bit. This lineup looks a lot more aggressive than what we've seen from them before, and maybe that's what they need to sort of surprise Geeky. Geeky have sort of found the rhythm, found the pacing of their opponents, but now that we have this aggressive lineup, can we cook? Can we find an opening onto an unsuspecting victim like this Valkyrie?
Hungry's a bit too. He's on his phone. You can't be on your phone while you're working, Hungry. You need to get off of it. Recognize the Sikapatas know about your location. And I don't think they're proactively seeking to hunt him down. Never mind, I was very wrong. Although it is Rexon to fall to forever, right towards that open area window, finding the first. Maraxo on the shield seems to be pushing towards some of these players. Hungry is being isolated, but it's Packpulse support. A pat on the back to find 2 alongside him. And just like that, Geeky, with the power of friendship, they found themselves the double. And yeah, it certainly will not go any further down the line. A shotgun up close, shotgun. Rorik falls. There's a second down. Geeky are starting to turn things around, but they have a down Warden that they need to either keep alive, use as bait. Forever's around open area, so he could be there to punish for it. And yep, spots the Valkyrie just for a moment. A bit of a juggle peek, trying to bait out some of these shots. Coles is still far away. He's inside, as a matter of fact, and only now did the defenders realize that. Drop from Forever. It should be stuck on through, but the defender has jumped out. Packville literally went to garage, and you saw through the wall as Cole's now in a 1v3 situation, a bit rough, finds the first. 2 more to go, and they're all isolated. You spotted the leg. You try to prioritize the second, but Eagles already found themselves an angle over you, and Geeky will claim map number 1.
It's absolute carnage as we actually swapped off the Valkyrie, and that Valkyrie gave Geeky so much information on when the pinch was coming and allowed them to get aggressive to fight back against Psychopatas's lobby take. But just it's absolute pandemonium in the server as we've got people fragging out everywhere, and GK managed to get it over the line as they claim their map pick to send us into Chalet.
Claim their map pick. You know, for a moment we thought Psychopatas were actually going to get it. It was looking dangerous in the moment being, but in general, GK were a bit more persistent towards that end game. They started picking up the pace as they went on. And some of these shots, Hungry really was an outperformer when needed most in these final few moments. Let's not even talk about this 3K that he gets to secure them the round. Then also the square double shot with the C4 combination. Hungry was an absolute menace inside this matchup.
He was cooking. Clearly the standout performer for his team. And Psychopatas, there was a couple of rounds where the rounds could have been theirs, but then Hungry has just decided not today. And that's what's been the difference maker in this game. It's a really, really good showing, in my opinion, from Psychopatas. They played really well and played to their style, really making the most of that time, especially on their attacks, to make use of every second count. But I think a couple of blunders have cost them a couple of rounds. And at this level, against these opponents, you can't afford to be making those mistakes, giving away some of those 4v2 situations against a team of this caliber.
Yeah, sadly, Psychopatas, they did get themselves the rounds, and honestly, they were dead to rights for it, but they could not constantly convert all the mistakes from GK as they left some openings themselves, and again, it allowed GK to get away with the majority, ending it within regulation. There were still some great moments, no doubt about that, and I'm hoping we're going to see that on Chalet. But in general, GK just seemed to be the stronger team going into this. Although, to give credit to Psychopatas, they brought it really close. For this being GK's first pick and first map of availability, Psychopatas did a really good job.
And the only other thing to mention is the Psychopatas need these 2-2 points a lot more than GK do. Can they use that as a driving factor to tie up the map score? We've got a long way to go in this game. This first map doesn't. It is 1-0 lead to GK, but there is a long time left in this series for Psychopatas to fight back, and they've got their map pick on Chalet as well. We have seen in the normal time as well that GK have beat Psychopatas here on Chalet, but I'm really hoping they've gone and appreciated what GK do and how they can fight back against this GK roster on what's going to be their map pick. I'm really surprised they've gone there, because last time we got to see it, Poffo, it was a bit of a bloodbath towards the side of GK on Chalet.
Hey, maybe they've been sharpening their claws while we've been waiting for the second Chalet to come around. And again, Chalet will be an absolute bloodfest. There is no denying that. And hopefully, we can see a bit more of that perfect form be sustained throughout that entirety of the map from Psychopatas. But before we head to map number 2, we're going to send it off to our lovely desk, because honestly, I think no one else can say it better than Travi in one. So take it away.
Oh, thank you very much, Pavo. Glad to know you think we have some good points here in our analysation of segments here on the desk. I mean, what a first map to kick things off, right? Psychopatas, I think Angun said it perfectly. They did good. Good is a great place to be, but good is not going to cut it. Against a team like GK in a grand final, in a match like this, good is not going to be enough. You need to be excellent. And the team play from GK just throughout that entire matchup, I think, is the driving factor to what carried them to that victory early on. What are your thoughts on that one?
We started out with GK doing some sort of like set plays, like doing their executes, trying to play directly onto side, like basement attack. They were going through the garage and server. So yeah, very minimal take there. And yeah, then later they went more split. And then we also saw Psychopatas go a little bit more reserved, more bunkery. And I think that describes the kind of dynamic between these two teams quite well in the first half, at least. Because GK, they were doing things, Psychopatas didn't have an answer to that, not a proactive one. So they were like, okay, let's try not to fight them too early and just keep it calm and don't peek everything and just try to play the time. And I think that got them in the later half, after the third band, more rounds. And yeah, then after the switch, like, we just saw GK hunting attackers sometimes. And like I'm a certified Osa hater, yeah? But how they cleared out the square consistently, even after people retake the position, There was just like peak coordination and yeah, peak siege.
Peak siege it was, and the thing for me really about it was when it came to that second half on the defenses, as you said, it was almost hard to track who was actually attacking the building because GK were just on the hunt that entire time through. There was a point where there's a fuse on the top of square stairs, he peeks up his shield and there's 3 defenders chasing him down, hunting him, going for their kill. GK tag teaming things, as Puffo said, through the power of friendship. Really getting the job done there. And I think in the second half, that's what let them get sort of carried away with things ever so slightly. They're really able to build themselves up from what was a solid first half for them. And this is the one thing for me in terms of the analysis and the pre-expectations going into this game more so. Secoptus, they're incredibly strong as a defensive side. It's where, if you watch them play, it's where the majority of their rounds come from. Their attacks, they're pretty solid, but as I said, we need to see a little bit more than solid. That baseline's not going to get you very far against a team like GK. Especially, you know, we talked about him a bit before in the pre-show, how Eagle's coming in, you know, he's the coach of the roster for sure, but he's replacing Skipper, who's a very, very good player. And one, I'd say he's lived up and surpassed expectations.
It like when I watched the game, I didn't really see a coach playing there. It was just like another player there. He fit very well in. He did his job. He did his parts. He didn't lose rounds, which sometimes happen if you fill in. If you're a little bit disconnected, you make a few mistakes which cost rounds, but he didn't. And yeah, set himself and his team up to success. And yeah, like in the first half, EK they were kind of vibing, especially after the 2v4 they won, Hungry and Rexon, on the basement attack.
Yeah,
I think that was some kind of a turning point in the mentality, because after that GK felt a bit more like casual. Like they went a little bit apart from their set plays and went more split and were like, okay, yeah, we can win those gunfights solo, we can get this stuff done. But I think that Psychopatha's won the rounds after this incident, let's say, was important for them.
Very much so important. I mean, they got the tide split, which I would say is, as I say, the expectation kind of for their results off of a bank defensive half, and it could have been better. You mentioned that basement clutch up there where Hungry got away with that disgusting 1v3. I mean, there's no better way to put it than that. Yeah. He was covering a plant at 0-0 on the clock, and he was given 3 1 versus 1 engagements, and a man as experienced as Hungry, you know, he's very well stacked for him to win those ones, and that's exactly what he did. So really for Psychopathy, it could have been a 4-2 split, and it might have bought them some more time, but as you said, as the game went on, GK, they comforted themselves. They really sort of started to return back to form, where you could see them having to work things out in the first half. You got towards half 2, and it was very much just a showcase reel for what I think makes GK strong as a team. Phenomenal team play, phenomenal tagging in and out, and it caused Psychopathy to really struggle with their time management, because there were a lot of last-minute executes there when they go into the attacks, weren't there?
Yeah, incredible. Like, sometimes really unbelievable. And especially, they had I think in the last top floor defense, they were like 5-2 up, and then they knew we got the echo on the basement, not a basement, like in the E2, in the elevator, safe and sound, and he can just stop the plant at any time, and they just threw their bodies at Psychopathas because they knew if you win the gunfights, we win the round. If you don't, well, they don't have time. So, and I think that's like the detail, like the handling for that, and have the feeling that you have, like, you can do that and be confident you win the round. Like the difference between throwing your bodies at the enemy and winning the round and miscalculating the time and losing the round is very thin, and it's the difference between looking like a genius and a fool. And they definitely went the genius route.
Yeah, definitely went the big brain route. And for GK, they're going to be incredibly happy. 1-0 up in this video so far. And, well, GK are winning maps. You yourselves at home can win some rainbow credits for yourself. We already mentioned 2,670 credits are up for grabs. 5 separate bundles of them. Exclamation mark giveaway. Go pop to the link. Get yourself readied up, signed up for that one. We're going to be drawing the winners later on tonight in the Discord, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. But we do have a map too to focus on in this one as well, because it's a best of 5. We're only just getting started. Now we're heading towards Chalet. The map pick of Psychopathus is one we expected from them, and it's one where I think Psychopathus is going to have a really, really good opportunity to sort of rectify their names in this tale we're seeing here.
Yeah, totally different map. Especially after maybe if they reset, and if they're more confident because they picked the map, of course they will be more confident on Chalet. And yeah, I think it's a totally different map playstyle wise. You can be more like super aggressive, and yeah, I'm excited to see how these teams change up, especially their operator bans, because we definitely won't. I think we don't see the same operator bans. We won't see a Monty ban, Clash maybe, and like Psychopathus banned Capitao and Ying, which are very suited for playing against a GK, and I'm excited to see if they stick to the Ying or if they change it up.
Different maps, different play styles, but same old set of casters. Puffo, Bob, and Amguns. You've got Chalet coming up. A GK going to get themselves up at series point, or a Psychopathus going to start to mount up and keep things nice and even. There's only one way to find out. So, gentlemen, handing it off to you. Have a good one with this time.
And we're back, Popo, just like that. No breaks needed here. We're back. We're going to get Chalet underway very, very shortly. And what are you hoping to see out of Chalet? It's a frag festival map, isn't it, Popo?
You already kind of put the words in my mouth. Fragmentation, kills, eliminations, whatever way you want to put it, that's what we want to see. We want to see a little bit of quads, even a cheeky ace. I would not complain over an ace. I think our grand final would fit quite nicely, but who's going to be there to deliver that job? I guess we're about to see. Chalet, it's a lovely map, and Amguns, if you don't know this map, you're just not in Siege. You're just not a Siege enthusiast. I think both these teams know the map better than anyone, but more than anything, both these teams have faced each other on this map as well quite a couple of times.
We spoke about it in the last map. We've got to see these teams hash it out here on Chalet. It's a map that's extremely popular, and for good reason. It allows you just to be a lot more aggressive. I think Bank was a lot more tactical than I was expecting, but coming into Chalet, obviously there's always going to be strategy involved, because this is Siege, but on these smaller maps, this one and Border especially, they really lean themselves into that fragging nature of the map, being aggressive on the defense. And again, in my opinion, it's going to come down to those defenses once again. If Psychopathus, if they can do things on their defense to unsettle GK and make sure they keep the advantage, that's the big thing. Keep the advantage they get from those early phases of the game and carry those into round wins.
Also, is your mustache good now?
Yeah, it's all good. I have to make sure.
Before we went, before Travi passed it on to us, I understand because he was fixing up his mustache. Honestly, Amguns, it looks fabulous. Trust me. But yeah, we're going into this map number 2, and there's a lot. There's a big burden on the shoulders of Psychopathus, because if they are not able to find this map, I mean, it's going to be serious points, and then they're going to need to reverse sweep, which is a hell on its own. Yeah, sure, some teams work well under pressure, or even that pressure can make them better. Hey, we're going to see if they're going to shine bright like a diamond, or if GK will find themselves a quick point once more. It is 1-0, but fret not, this is the map for Psychopathus. It is Chalet we're about to be heading into, and I just got to ask, any predictions on the bans?
The bans, who knows? But I have a feeling, I believe in my heart, that Psychopathus are going to bring this back. I want to see this series go 1-1. The script is written. It's written in the stars, Puffo. But if we're going to have to put some money on it, it's going to be the Shields. We've seen Clash already getting banned out, and it will be the Monty getting banned out here, as Azami's been banned out this time around. We saw extensive use of her on Bank, and she is vital in holding key areas of Chalet. So I'm not surprised that these are the bans that we're seeing.
Well, honestly, myself, I'm not either. And to see the big brother of the trio, the big triplet, I guess you could call him, the Monty,
The
Thomas,
Mountain.
and the Mountain, the big man himself be banned out alongside the Blackbird. Like you said, it shields are not welcomed. We do open up that blitz of opportunities, and if Psychopathus can really get a good dragon's grip over aggression, they might be able to utilize him to his max. But on the defensive side, the Tubra will also leave the field, and I think that is.
it's especially useful on all of the bomb sites. When we have those top floor defenses, which are played for the top floor bomb site itself, as well as for the kitchen bomb site and for basement, there is always going to be that key breach, which is vital to get open. Especially when we're playing that kitchen bomb site, you can trick both the upstairs and the downstairs wall with one Cade Claw, which is a really effective way of basically just shutting out your opponents from getting any access to that bomb site. And Psychopaths have decided we don't want to deal with any of that. We want to make sure that we can get things open and at least get the first phase of our attacking round complete. So that way, if we do mess up, it's not because we've been shut out immediately by the defense.
Yeah, 100%. And now we're going to be heading to the site that everyone resorts to when it comes down to this map, and it will be Bar and Gaming. Well, this is where the Frost was introduced, and me and Amguns always cross our fingers for a Pog mat, but for now, we're going to have to step away from that. We will be going by the basics. You put your deployable shield on top library, OMI to support it, and in general, the structure and this very well-crafted build around library is what Geeky will rely on.
And this time around, the Aruni is not just for the DMR and the ACOG. We've seen a lot more Aurora usage being brought out by a lot of teams on this bomb site specifically to allow you to push that shield that you mentioned on top blue.
Janu is being tempted. The Green Goblin mask has been put on, and looking to put that shield to use, block some of these bullets. Knows one's right around the corner. Does he get away with his life? It seems Hungry's able to bite back, but for how much longer? He has been muzzled out. A quick second for Psychopaths as they also take off Packbull elsewhere, and that seems this trophy side has now been cleared for the attackers.
And once again, from Psychopaths, it's really good work on the entry, using the baby brother of the Monty to get aggressive. Blitz is still that shield operator that's left alive, and we've made great use of him to force out some mistakes early. Hungry left on a bit of an island, and what a player to take out as well. He absolutely popped off on our map previous, so that's a player you really need to get off the lobby, and they've done a great job on capitalizing on that.
But look at Psychopaths, right? They already have 2 players in leverage. But they should feel confident. They do, but they don't feel the need to rush. They can play this back, be a bit more safe, open up some new breaches, find themselves new openings, and a 3rd kill as well while at it. You're just finding and piecing up Geeka as you go along the way. They're still going by the book, by their strategy, clear out the top floor, but you gotta be cautious of these flanks. Rorik's able to claim one, pops the goggles, but you gotta be wary of these players. Eagle is able to support him down. Danu in the meanwhile, impact there to try and find yourself multiple openings. The flick onto the right, he's getting snappy with it, and Psychopaths have let go of it. The revive is there, but Eagle out from above dives on down and finds the final 2. How has he done it?
It's again, how are we getting away with this? The 5-5s will come out in the chat as well. And there's a 1v5, 1v4 coming out from the side of Eagle, as we don't need this guy to be a coach. Why wasn't he in the roster? What a time for this guy to come into his own element as is a 1v4 for the side of Eagle as he goes huge for his team. But Psychopaths, we can't keep letting them get away with it.
Most dangerous animal when it comes down to air fights. Eagle just up from above, claiming a couple. These are just worms on the ground he's picking up for a breakfast. And 3 in an instant. This man is unstoppable. I mean, Geek, I imagine the voice call wasn't even screaming. They were whispering into Eagle's voice, or into Eagle's ears, just saying, go do it. We ball. We go next. We either lose this round or you become a champion. And, well, he did just about the latter.
And luckily it's happened early. The thing that's almost saving grace for Psychopaths getting this map underway is at least you've let the round slip as the first round. It's still very early into this map too. It's only the first round of the game. So there's a lot of time left for the rest of this rounds to play out, and we can still come back. But we are on our attacking half to kick things off because GK have chosen to defend first. So they're taking the harder side on this map. So we really need to be making use of these rounds and just getting them over the line because we're doing so well in the early and mid parts of the round.
First round, EK. What a catastrophic way to begin it. They do so nonetheless. Psychopaths, they've realized that even in slim moments, you give away a bit of that aggression. You give a slight opening to this team and your entire round could be crumbled. He's now hungry again. Once more, a prioritization to take care of. Chucks down that C4. Might be a bit of a waste, but he's trying to keep himself safe. Backs off for now. It seems like the Deimos won't follow up just yet, but it shows that Geeky are still extending to this bottom floor, and it's something you need to do. Again, giving attackers this bottom floor to approach top west and have full vantage over this fireplace is a good thing to be.
It's really good opening initial control from coming in from Psychopatas. They've identified the free real estate. They understand there's a player in basement, but we've done really well to clear him out. Rorik looking to get aggressive, support his teammate that's stuck in that basement area. But now we need to look to get these breaches open. Coles combined with Ash, they should be able to deal with this bandit, but some damage traded at Puffo as they need to get these breaches open.
Two players, one foot in the grave already. Danu's barely able to walk away from that gunfight, and even then, Eagle will not be taken out. This man's a beast. They're trying to take him out with their full efforts, but it's just not going in that direction. The bandit keeps surviving for just a couple more moments. The Dokkaebi calls for a second. Now Psychopatas, they are breaching through, but they have not established that verticality.
And that verticality is going to be key, as Eagle doesn't even need it. Just getting really aggressive, looking to catch out Psychopatas once again, posted up close on this breach.
Does Eagle even care about his own life? He's just throwing himself out there for a couple of opportunities, but hey, we ball, we go next. Packbull falls. That's Rexo's first contact for Psychopatas to claim leverage. And even though the bandit is still feeling a bit of that aggressive side, he hasn't been spotted upon. Neither has Rorik. Although Eagle, it seems like I was mistaken, he gets quickly traded as 2 kills go both ways. In this round, we have an equalization, but again, the attackers haven't made a great upset. They're still trying to lurk down below, find themselves a couple of these players. Just a kill for themselves. Opt can to limit out the movement from Rorik. He will be stuck there for a moment. Primin is in a battle of his own. And Geeky are trying to waste time with this Wamai, and they're doing that very good. Although he's stuck, right? And Psychopatas are going to need to finally start resorting to some sort of action. They've been stuck standing for such a long time, but they're still above, wondering where they should go.
They're just struggling to get anything going as the site execute's got to come in, and it's got to come in now. He's got to cross this angle that has been held the whole round, as the reason because is the kit was down cold as Geeky, they sweep up the remains of Psychopatas as it's just carnage, and they're playing to the map. Geeky getting in the faces of their opponents, and Psychopatas, unfortunately, just a little bit lost there towards the end of that round.
That end of the round, last 30 seconds, it was really on edge throughout the entirety of the thing, and anything could have popped off at any moment, but honestly, it was well played by the sides of Geeky. They kept that diffuser at bay. They made sure that Psychopatas did not have the reach over it, and with the case going cold, the site being open, Psychopatas, all they have to do is find these final few kills, right? But you have no time. Little to no information. One of the players who is holding the case majorly is also playing with his foot, to say the least. So Geeky find themselves that round number 2.
And they're racking up the rounds here on their defensive half. And this is where Psychopatas, they now get to attack the tertiary bomb site, the third preference that Geeky are looking to play. And this is where we need a strong round to really swing the momentum back towards our side. We've just had 2 rounds where we've sort of been battered, for a lack of a better way of describing it. We need to give some pain out. We need to dish out some motivation for the rest of our team. So that way we can get ourselves back into the game. Because if Geeky keep building this momentum, we might have a very quick series on our hands.
Yeah, we just might. But again, Psychopatas, first 2 rounds. Maybe the previous one was an early start, but they're going to get a bit more used to it as time goes on. Hopefully, they don't waste too much, though, again, because Geeky could find themselves very good given early beginning into this match. Forever almost spawn peak, but almost one fight cut it. We've seen that in map number 1 and the second already going toward the defenders. The Eagles even I would say that overextending very low and isolated toward the side.
They've let him loose. They've just told him, you go cook, bro. You do what you need to do. And he takes the head off Forever as well. And who are we to question this man as he gets the opening engagement in his favor once again?
Is Hungry going out for a walk? He teased these attackers for a moment. Primin, in the meanwhile, that was just a distraction for him to sneak in on, but he doesn't recognize that there's an angle right onto him. Rorik with an established head body hole, whatever you want to consider it, towards that bar side to support Eagle and his let loose gameplay, which now has Psychopatas have to approach him comfortably, but it won't be comfort they're given. It's quite the opposite as another one drops. There's 2 bodies for Psychopatas to fight with now. The new Coles, who's half on HP, has a diffuser in the ace again, and time's still not going to be too much of an issue playing up against Geeky, and formation is not in your leverage.
And now the nature of the map is going against the Bulls. The Horns of Psychopatas just not able to find these opening engagements as Geeky embrace the aggression and find 3 opening picks for themselves. I think this is where attack timeout would really help, as Danu will find one back as we leave ourselves in a 3v2. But with the low HP Puffo, this is going to be such a mountain to climb to get back into this round.
Yeah, they're really going to have to lock down some of these headshots. There's no denying that. Or at least not get shot themselves. Like you said, Danu is a single bullet away from certain death, and Coles is not close enough to him to get a confident refrag. Smokes are out. Could go for the default blind. We do see that 2 C4s from Geeky still remain, but they're not close enough to chuck him just yet. Danu closing on by. He isn't holding side itself. The C4 is there, not committed to as the down is coming on through. But Coles has to move away for a moment. That plant will be denied for just a moment. And in the meanwhile, we also get a kill for the favor of Psychopatas, so they can still convert this. A couple of shots, and Coles just walks in onto them, leaving Danu in a 1v2 against Packful and Rorik, who are both equally low HP'd. A single bullet will not land. It's Packful who finds it first, and Geeky with their 3rd round.
We need to slow this momentum. Geeky are running away with it as they get a flawless 3-round rotation. And this is where I think for Psychopatas, we really got to take attack timeout to steady the ship, to right the wrongs that are really causing us problems, as we need to return almost to the aggression we showed in the first round, because it seems like the confidence in the roster of Psychopatas is slowly leaking away, and it's showing in their gameplay, unfortunately.
And very influential, to say the least. And Geeky, they just get away with these standalone players. Eagle has been an absolute initiator. There's no denying that he's been a powerhouse operator and player both at once since the very beginning. Even when not on screen, he's still dealing major damage and being quite brutal, to be honest. Psychopatas, they return a couple of these kills, right? But they're left in these situations where normally you wouldn't consider it be winnable. And, well, as statistics say, they will not be able to win not a single one up until now. So M-Guns, a 3-3 is expected on Chalet, meaning that Psychopatas need to up their game.
The benefit for Psychopatas is that they've seen all 3 bomb sites. Geeky have not opted to go for the basement site, so we're going to see the same rotation coming in from Geeky as we saw in the first quarter of the game. We need to see Psychopatas now make the right adjustments and be able to deal with the setups that we've seen from Geeky. And we take a look at the lineup that we're seeing coming in from the side of Psychopatas, that seems to be taking the form of lots and lots of utility. We have the Capital, we have the Fuse, we have the Thatcher as well, to be able to deny any of those Wamai gadgets. And it seems like they're going to try and hit the site direct, let Coles jump in with the LMG, let it go burr, as they really need to change up the pace to catch Geeky off guard.
Yeah, I imagine a blitz would fit in quite accordingly here, but unfortunately so, Geeky ended up to opt and ban out all 3 of the shields, but now just rushing it on in. You talk about Brute, there goes Coles with his first Brute, able to find the second, and Packbull just swinging into those bullets. You're dealt and you pay the price. Geeky 2 players down, and it was off of a single player. The anchor of Psychopatas that they've been seeking. The Finka should be able to retrieve some of that HP quite shortly, and in the meanwhile, Geeky seem not to have learned their lesson. Rexon is able to finally get the kill back. You lose that Finka due to a bit of overzealousness, but against Psychopatas, you found the advantage. Keep it.
He can't quite see the toes. That is a toe as he tags up Eagle behind this Clash Shield. And now that we've worked this 4v3 advantage with a couple of players on low HP, the Rush hasn't exactly got the kit down, but we find ourselves in a really advantageous situation as the run out will punish this player, as Eagle is just cooking. He is the thorn, he's the Achilles heel of the Psychopatas roster. But with the HP that we still have, this is a great round, or a great opportunity. It was a great opportunity to take a round.
We got to keep in mind that was past tense right now, because Geeky are looking into the future and it's looking bright, while Psychopatas have started seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. They're left down with 2 players, and we just got to ask ourselves, where did it all go wrong? Well, let me tell you, Eagle, Rex, and Hungry have started dominating once more. They found themselves 3 kills, and Psychopatas did not play together. They just considered, you know what, teamwork, what is that? We're going to swing and play a bit of Call of Duty, a bit of Battlefield 6 since it already came out. But in the meanwhile, it's left your team at quite the disadvantage. That's low HP for some of these, but you don't have those fire bolts to take them out comfortably. One of them is also a Clash who can block a lot of these bullets. Now pistol in hand for Danu, not the best gun of choice. Psychopatas are gonna have to work with what they've made themselves. You know how they say, you make your own bet.
Make your own luck, I believe, is how that saying goes, Puffo. As we still have these fuse canisters in the back pocket, we can try and force a lobby execute. As I said, we have a couple of players who are literally one tap. If we can just compose ourselves, force the issue with that shield as well, which we've just lost, it might be possible.
You really are good at gas recursing. Raxo's last one. Sukepatis are looking to make the most of it, but Raxo, in an unfortunate spot, is up against a fully shielded Rexon who can swing and play this initiation whenever he wants. A single bullet should be able to finish the job, and so it is done. That's the one disadvantage when going up against that Clash shield, right? You don't get to decide when you swing as the one approaching the Clash. You just have to prepare for it, and sadly, Sukepatis were not ready.
I mean, again, Coles, he's doing what he can to try and carry this roster. Found a great opening couple of kills, but I think we're going to put the color casting aside, as it is just carnage every time anything happens, all the time. As Geeky, they're just reading Sukepatis so well. They understood that this round was going to be a direct take coming in, and they managed to find ways to fight back against that verticality. The run out from Eagle has just completely opened up the round as they lose that control over the library side. And this time, it's going to be Rorik's turn, Puffo, to hop onto the Clash and start to cause some carnage.
More Clash. Sukepatis, again, they didn't really take the advantage or the moment to ban out the Clash when the third wave struck around for the operator bans. And while they do get rid of the Valkyrie, which has, again, been a bit of a difficulty to work around, and now you don't need to selectively pick that IQ to counter her, there's another downside. Rorik is on the Clash. Geeky have been really thriving off that picket again. They've been still good at gunfights and even converting 5v3s into 1v1s, apparently.
Attackers are heading out.
And it's going to be back to kitchen. So Sukepatis, they should be good and ready for this kitchen side. As if we think back to the previous time we hit that kitchen area, it was just a little bit sloppy in getting the breaches open and taking control over that library side. We tried to hunt that Roman, which didn't really work to give us that advantage we were hunting for. And again, it was the aggression shown from the side of GK, from Geeky, to understand what the take is and to fight back against it.
Oh, Hungry picking up the spot of Eagle. Can he deliver the same performance? Sukepatis are ready for it, or maybe not. Packbull swinging in once more around that dining hallway, finding himself the first, still wanting more, but it seems like he will be fed enough for now. Starting to consider that it's a bit risky to go for second chances against Sukepatis, but again, PK, they've already been able to deliver enough. Even a death mark used on the Swarden, but still not much of a push forward towards him. Primin is really considering it, but you know you're being held. That vault is going to be at your disadvantage. Eagle for a run out. In the meanwhile, Raxo taking damage. He's out of bullets, and Hungry will not be finished just yet. Another pre-fire. Finally, the job is finished and done. Even though Sukepatis, they might have taken damage, and they continue to bleed out as Packbull delivers two more, or rather is able to finish one. Seems that a couple more are just not going to be enough. Rexon from the library stairs claiming another, and Sukepatis are just being stooped down a steep hill and getting worse by the moment.
They just put Sukepatis in a box, as I feel like the team coordination that we saw is just not where it needs to be to fight back against this roster. As Rorik finds one behind the Clash shield, putting these operators to good use, as Eagle finds another as well to round things out for us here in our 5th round. As Geeky just showing absolute how menacing they are on Chalet.
5 for 5. Although, to not discredit Sukepatis, some of these rounds have been quite close and possibly could have been theirs, but again, it's the result that matters most, and the fact that you're carrying a donut on your round count is not the best of looks. Sukepatis on the attacking side, they entered the building but got lost in a maze, a labyrinth, a hall of mirrors, where in each reflection they saw Geeky shooting back at them. In a 1v1, can always bet on Geeky. 5-0 going into the last round of the first half. We get to see upstairs once more.
I think Geeky, it comes down to the way they figured out the playstyle of their opponents. They almost know if we put a player here, this is where we can anticipate the clear of that player to come in from, and they've got people positioned in all the right avenues to capitalize on the clears that Sukepatis are going with. But they're also making it just a little bit easy for Geeky. The Deimos scan only comes in after we lose our entry player. We really need to be communicating that we're going to push at the same time, and that's giving Geeky the ability to put themselves in these little pockets of space to capitalize on the push when it does come in and end the round before it even gets going to give himself advantageous situations.
Paris pulling out the send. Again, going for a bit more of this roam clearage. They've recognized that GK sit comfortably if they spread themselves thin throughout the map. Although Cicapadas have found a bit of a loophole around it, right? We saw that rush earlier, and it really worked out in their favor. They got themselves a, double, triple kill in an instant. Sadly, while they couldn't continue off of it, it's still some sort of pro that they should consider rather than trying to play by the book against a team that wrote that book. DK now still going around, again, Eagle around that bar side. Cicapadas played by default, and hopefully they're able to maintain that because sends gadgets early into sight. Try and find yourself a couple of ones. Well, the buck has already been downed, and rushing it on in. It seems like this is going to be aggressive fashion from Cicapadas once more, and it's worked out for the first two. Do we get the buck back on his feet? I don't think so. Same could be said for the Dokkaebi, the Sledge, who are both being set down in the grave, and Geeky are having bloody murder across this map. Although not without consequence, because two have also only been left standing.
And the kid's been left upstairs as well. Raxo's just made his way into sight, but this diffuser is deep towards Piano, and GK know it too. We're getting aggressive. The res coming in. The default cam's still up here, Puffo, as the swing will come in. But Raxo's just better as they finally manage to get around over the line, and we get a 5-1 half for GK.
5-1 half for Geeky. At least Cicapadas make the most of what they're given, the bare minimum, a 1 round. But now they're going to have to win 5 more to bring themselves into overtime, or 6 in a row for regulation victory. Tough chances we're faced with, but in general, it's not impossible, although Geeky now on the attack. We're going to have to see what they're going to be cooking up.
Fingers crossed, Puffo. I really do have my fingers crossed for Cicapadas, as can they cook on the defensive side? Can they dish out the punishment back to GK that they've just received? Can they get aggressive? And we've just seen it there. When they are aggressive, when they get aggressive as a team, it really rewards them and they catch GK off guard. They need to do more of that, especially going into their defense. And that can be tactical. It's not just sheer gun skill that can give you these opening avenues. It can be pre-play C4s. It can be holding crossfires. It can be denying that info that GK have been relying on so heavily to try and get them some advantageous situations here.
Yeah. Again, Cicapadas found themselves a lot of openings before. They just really can't work off of them. It's like moments that Geeky can expose most, but going into the split role reverse, whatever you consider it, right, and the nice little vice versa, Cicapadas find themselves on par in gaming, and defense should for sure be a bit more comfortable, seeing as we also put Forever on the Ela, and we don't seem to be carrying a shield this time around.
No shield in the lineup, as GK feel that they're going to go for a very active style of play, as they're going to be hitting this bar site once again. And as we saw Cicapadas do round surrounds, just by being around the map, by opening up all of these barricades, you can apply a lot of ghost pressure to various different parts of the map. And maybe they're thinking we can lean into that ghost pressure to sort of get us that advantage and claim that space without having to bring the shield operator to claim that space.
Yeah, the defense, they don't bring much shields themselves. Deployable shields wise, they're going to be having a bit of a rougher time on the top floor, depending on how they want to take it. But Geeky, again, going to go and play Chalet as they usually do. They take up the usual Dokkaebi, their usual Deimos. We've seen this from Cicapadas plenty of times, and again, roam clear on a site like this is a necessity. Oh, wonder when Geeky going to be taking the initiative to go for a rush for themselves, because we always see rushes on the attacking side. It's only a matter of time until Geeky get tempted to do one themselves.
If we also take a look at the lineup of Cicapadas, it's extremely frag heavy. We've got the DMR and Raxo, the Legion, the Ela, the Warden to deny any rushes. This is a very, very comfort aggro pick lineup to sort of contest Geeky at every turn and corner. This is going to come down to how much value can we get out of Primin. We know how much of a gunner he is, but he just hasn't been able to get going so far in this game.
Ooh, excellent here. Good catch Forever off guard. Doesn't seem to be able to capitalize off of that just yet. Balls are out, and these positions are slowly getting exposed while Geeky are preparing to take these roamers out one by one. Time is ticking away, and well, better to recognize that than Rexon, who's been dealt a similar fate like Danu. One kill goes both ways, and we find ourselves in a nice little 4v4 standoff with Geeky. Again, they sent a player forward. He's taken out. Play it a bit more calm.
Well, we've taken out the Deimos. This is a good trade. A lot of mute utility still left in and around the map to help with that information denial game. So I think a pretty good trade, all things considered. We've traded it out. We're still burning that clock. We've still got good map control as well, as can we catch the Capital off guard here?
Doesn't seem so. Forever backs off towards Library. Again, Sycopaths are wasting precious time by the moment, and GK seem to be, in the moment, a bit scared to step forward and take some of these initiations. On the attacking side, it's a lot more difficult to do than on the defense, which Sycopaths clearly are looking for a couple of swings that maybe they can find. Now, shots Capital's way. You speak of it, Rourke does not want to fall here, so he's going to be using his first bolt to try and deny that as much as possible. While Eagle finds Raxo as the second. A bit of a run out here, and it will not go punished. Cherry on top. Coles find himself not only kill, but it's also going to be that Dokumi. So Rogue Clears is out of account. Hungry there returns the favor, able to bring GK back onto a one-man leverage. Now Library, heavy, getting a bit steady. Shots will connect. Forever's able to find the first. He's tempted for a second, but Packbull shuts him down. Now it's all up down to Coles. His shoulders must feel burdened, but he still needs to take care of two, and not even the first stop is where he ends up. Hungry there for the final shot, and GK now on match point.
And it's just the patience, Puffo. It's so precise from GK, as Psychopaths, unfortunately for them, they get caught off guard. They just didn't have that discipline that we saw from them on Bank to wait for GK to come to them. It was brilliant play from it for Forever to try and fight back and to get himself back into the round. But GK, because they've managed to find that advantage early, they've just basically posted up in and around this lobby and bar side and found the picks and carried that momentum through the round to claim match point, as it's looking like a very dominant Chalet once again from the side of GK.
Yeah, last time the scoreline was what, 7-2? Kind of
7-2.
heading in that direction, if not even better, right? GK can still get themselves to Brazil with a 7-1 finish, but hey, we're gonna have to see that right here, right now. Sycopaths are gonna be pulling out the sight. We have not seen yet the bottom floor, also the Alibi, which is really a pick that I always like, but is very uncommon for a reason.
Does he know the tech? Has he got the full auto slug shotgun on the Alibi? He does not. For all of you have not tried it, maybe, I would highly recommend that you bring that weapon. It's basically a fully automatic DMR, basically, and especially with a lot of operators losing their ACOGs, it might just be what you need to start winning some of your games, and the help that Psychopaths might have needed, as they need all the help they can get here, Puffo, as they face an even bigger mountain than what we saw they had to overcome on the side of Bank.
Yeah, it's been quite hectic here for Sycopaths, really on the rough edge of things, but hey, on the defensive, maybe they can make the most of it, although being met with a grim fate regulation victory a lot quicker than many would expect is not the best for the mental. Although again, we're talking about Sycopaths. They definitely do deserve a spot to be in the grand final, and there's a reason for it. So let's hope that we can see that potential that they brought out also in the previous map, where they did quite decently. The GK right now onto this attacking side seem to really be loving showing off this patience here, and calculated aggression while at it. As Primin will be the first to fall. You flush out this Goyo with the nade. Doesn't seem to fall for it because he's backed up by Danu. It's a nice little player. Hook, line, and sinker. Both falls. A second quickly, though, as Hungry's able to return the favor. And now the attackers are starting to bite back. A swing from two, not expected. Raxo finds the kill and backs off with Danu onto site because Sycopaths already dealt enough damage.
And meanwhile, we've had all this chaos on the bar side. The rest of GK, the real force of this attack, have gone and claimed that trophy side. Maybe a little bit of a bait coming out from GK to fake the pressure over toward that bar side, as Packbull, Eagle, and Rexon complete dining control from them as they look to gear up for this wine side execute.
A couple of shots towards Packbulls, alerting the guards. Now soft breaches being set and verticality established, but that doesn't seem to be the main intention of GK, as they might be heading to this west side as well. Reaching into wine. Do we have the sidelines open? I'm not too sure about it. Even setting some drones. We still have a good minute here, so Sycopaths really have not wasted too much time. But again, they do hold a bit more of this position from Connector. GK have one entry. They have claimed hatch, but the breach on the side doesn't seem to be open just yet.
They're trying to figure out a way to get this boiler breach open, but Danu's got something to say about it as he takes Packbull down. The shots raining out from the Cade as they now have the man advantage. This is where we need to see the discipline from Psychopaths to keep themselves alive on this map.
Up in smoke canister, Eagle drop onto Hatch. Unexpected, but Hurd goes with a shot. Coles is able to claim him, and now it's left down to the one and only Rexon to make up for these final two who are hiding away. They're not going to give a glimpse of their whereabouts just yet. They really want to have him pressured and feeling the need to go for this plan. He's going to be sticking it once. What they say, pros don't fake, and Rexon is not one to fake. He's just left standing there on the desk, middle of sight, uncontested, and no one's approaching him. Now time is starting to tick away, Seeker Patterson. You're going to need to approach him as he's almost able to pick off Rexo, but just a shoulder shot will not be enough to deal the fatal blow. Rexo, though, for a second just swings on into him. He's giving him a freebie, and in the meanwhile, the Flores can back off. He's on to the outside, using the drone for his teammates to maybe watch over the diffuser, a bit of a babysitter protocol. You could call it a buddy system, but to new last one, low HP, Seeker Patterson, this is not the way you want to go out. Diffusing halfway through, the red pings are there. Does he bait? Yes, but it's too late as Rexon's able to get the swing. And map number 2 for Geeky, and for them to claim series points.
The copium is fading, Popo, and it's really sad to say because I really wanted to see this roster sort of prove themselves on the biggest stage that we have. This is a massive final, would have given huge points to the side of Psychopatas in those T2 standings. But just like South Breach, unfortunately, the copium is fading, Puffo, as the predictions, it was very even at the start, but Geeky are just completely showing their class. Packball said in the interviews as well, after that South Breach win, we're going to keep cracking on. We have goals and ambitions to make it to T1, to basically win everything, and they decided we're going to come out and absolutely put our foot down against this Spanish roster as they take a convincing 7-1 here on Chalet.
Yeah. Even better than the previous time, and not many would consider that possible, but hey, Geeky can always catch us off guard. Seeker Patterson, on the other hand, as much as they came into Chalet as their own pick with a bit of confidence spreading wide, he made a statement even louder. Just like that, not much of an issue going into this map. Some of these rounds should have been Seeker Patterson as well. They got quite close, but only asked bank, just not being closed out is what ended up being the hardest burden to deal with. And in general, Geeky now with series points again. Seeker Patterson, the reverse sweep is going to be a long path. They're going to need to convert this into a bit of a marathon, or Geeky have themselves a sprint.
Yeah, there's a long way to go to fight back in this series, but this is why the BF5s? The BO5s are spicy. There is plenty of siege to be played. We're getting at least another 7 rounds, and this is where Psychopatas do what you got to do. Get some snacks, take a big time out as a team. You need your captain to really rise up and give some confidence, almost light a fire under yourselves to get yourself starting the next map strong, because right now we need to return back to the performance we showed in our first map on Bank. I think Geeky Chalet is just their map, so we need to put everything that's happened so far behind us and get ready for map 3.
Yeah, speaking of map 3, it's going to be Lair. That's going to be an interesting one. We haven't seen these two teams face off at all between each other, nor do we get to see Lair a lot. You know, it's not a common map like your usual Consulate, Nighthaven, or Clubhouse, so Lair is definitely going to be interesting. But before we go on to Lair, before we talk about that map in depth, let's hear it from our lovely analyzation team, or analyze, what do we say in the pre-host? We made a little insight. Oh, it doesn't matter. Travi, take it away.
Yeah, welcome back at the analyst desk. I'm One and Travi still with me. We were watching this game. We were both having some food, thinking we had some time to eat.
Yeah.
But we basically didn't. Yeah, Geeky just like a train without brakes, just ran over Chalet and they're gone.
When? They're gone. There's no better way to put it. They're gone. Just that map went and flown by. Barely got to finish my dinner by the time we roll credits on that one. And just like that, Geeky have themselves series point. I mean, I have no clue well, I have a clue what happened there. During that one, we were sort of having a bit of a discussion, right, about a game that happened yesterday over on Talent, one of our other secondary T2 tournaments. And it was Chalet Seeker Patterson against Turks. Now, a lot of you will know Turks, and that one, well, in the defense first half, the attacking half of Seeker Patterson, it went the exact same way it did today. 5-1 split. Seeker Patterson only got one attack going, and it's that kind of an issue. The defenses of Seeker Patterson, they're fine. They're all right. They're good. But like we said, good isn't good enough on your defenses, and the attacks, they're not at that benchmark.
Yeah, and we just looked at the whole series, like, especially we looked at Wikipedia at the stats. So we just saw the defensive side, attacking side for Psychopathas, and as you said, they played Chalet and Lair, and from 10 attacks, they won 1. So they only got to 4 attacks in the second map on Lair, which is coming now, and I'm thinking, as someone who maybe roots for Psychopathas, so where do you get your copium from? Because DK doesn't have a weak side or like maybe they have, but only a little. So where do you cope from as a Psychopathas fan?
You have to get your copium from the defensive halves for Psychopathas. They're going to be starting Lair on the defense, I believe, and that is what they need. They need to use that first half, those first 6 rounds. They need to slam Geeky. I'm not talking an even split. I'm not talking an expectation. They need to make Geeky look like coppers. That is an insanely difficult task. No team has really managed it this year, and we are asking the world of Psychopathas to perform like that for us in this next half. But honestly, that's the only way I see Psychopathas coming back into this one, because as soon as it flips onto their attacks, yesterday against Turks, as you said, there were 4 rounds played on Psychopathas' Lair attack, and they got none of them. They need to tighten up their attacks, but before they can even get to them, they need to start off solidly on the defenses. I can't help but worry. Momentum is going to be a big factor into this one right now, because especially after that one, you saw it in the all chat, right? Geeky, they're just looking really comfortable and confident yet again.
Yeah, and we had so many rounds where Psychopathas did have the man advantage. Towards the end almost sometimes. Like, I think the first round, it was a breaking point, because you have 4v1 against Eagle, and then you give him the chance to clutch it. Like, he did play well, to his credit, yes.
Oh yeah.
But they did give him the chance to do that, and you can't definitely now you know you shouldn't. But let's see. They definitely, as you said, they need to come back mentally, especially mentally, and then like they need to get round 1 and 2 and 3, and maybe then they can settle a little bit. But if they lose round 1, and round 2 maybe, then I think the match is over, because not really a comeback from there.
Bold take. I mean, I can't, to be fair, I honestly cannot disagree with you there. If the momentum train and the wind in the sails of Geeky does not get stalled out in the first couple of rounds, I struggle to see a world, because like we said, for Psychopathas, Lair is not a good map. Since August, they've played it 7 times in officials on Liquipedia, and out of those 7, they've won it twice. It's not their strongest map. Meanwhile, on the side of Geeky, it's something they've introduced in the last couple of months, and it is a map that works phenomenally for them. They're incredibly good on it, and as Amguns mentioned, it's not a commonplace map. It's not something every team is comfortable to play. So Geeky, by forcing it into their map pool, in these longer series, it's given them a free pick essentially, and the best bit for them, they get a free pick while they're 2-0 up. They have a very prime opportunity to close this series out 2-0 in insanely quick fashion, and that means, folks, for you all at home, time is running out to get yourself in on the giveaway that we've got running. Get yourselves on that one, because there's possibly only one more map in this one, and if it's a 7-1 like the previous match, we could be very, very quickly closing that one off. So make sure to go and get that one as well. We've got the EML T2 finals coming up. There's plenty of action. So, go check out the EML finals. I myself are going to be there. Plenty of the other talent working tonight are going to be there. And that's just going to be a banging event all around, right, One?
Yeah, like a good location to go into the winter. If you, like, either you go somewhere like Malta or somewhere like Sweden to get full cold winter. But yeah, I think most people should be fine with going to Malta. There's a big opportunity. To just meet the people you go to Munich with, then just go with them to Malta, and then in February to Paris. That's how you should do it.
Get yourself ready to go on these wonderful, wonderful trips. Been to Siege events plenty times before, I'm sure you'll say as well, One. They are phenomenal. If you get the chance, definitely do go to them. But we're going to be going on a trip back towards the green room, because we've got our map 3 of this series coming on up. Lair is coming through. Is this the end point, end of the road for Psychopathas, or have they got a little bit more in the tank? Puffo Bob, Amguns, let's find out.
Let's find out. Will it be the end game, or do we continue on what we would hope would be a best of 5 going to full length? I guess we're about to find out. Thanks to Travian1 giving us that beautiful overlook. And again, both of them looking really dapper in their suits. But in general, Amguns, we're going to Lair. This is a map of mysteries, hasn't been fully explored upon. And I'm hoping we get to test the waters with these two teams.
I really want to see Psychopatas bring it back, give some life to this roster, and get themselves, back into the series. We need to see them, just as Travis said, you need to make GK look like Hoppers. You need to put your stamp on this series, get yourself some momentum in this game, because GK they're just not taking any prisoners. The copium is faded, but I've got my fingers crossed for them, Puffo. I really do.
I'm going to be carrying those cross fingers all the way through map number 3 with you. I think even the fans of Psychopatas will, but hey, let's waste no time any further. We're going into map number 3. Lair is going to be one of, personally, my favorite. Again, I don't like any map specific. I just like nuance. I like seeing new things, and I think Lair is the best representation off of it. And at the same time, we haven't seen these two teams play on it oftenly, so Psychopatas can for sure catch us off ground. At the same time, like you said, Travis said, this is going to be a moment where Psychopatas need to lock in. This is the time we need to see them truly bring it back, because it's their final chance. They are out of second lives. And Lair is the only thing that stands between DK, besides Psychopatas, and a flawless run into Voltage League Season 8's Grand Final.
And I want to see the aggression. It's going to be really difficult for Psychopatas with the amount of momentum that's against them to keep up that aggressive playstyle. We've seen how effective it can be from them. A lot of the rounds that they've won in convincing fashion have come out of that style where they've been able to get those opening picks and maintain that advantage throughout the game. But if we start taking a look at these bans, Puffo, the Glaz being banned out immediately by Psychopatas, is it a worthy ban here on Lair?
Trust and Psychopatas, they're cooking. They're cooking, okay? They definitely reviewed Geeky's 1 or 2 matches on Lair that they played in their entire history and probably said, we don't want to deal with Glaz. No, honestly, I'm going to agree with it. Glaz is extremely powerful on this map. There's no denying it. You take a look at the top floor and how oftenly Glaz can turn things around. You go for that default main breach around Operation, get yourself into the default cubby, and then you go for the Glaz plant, right? That's kind of how you work around him. It's almost a free win if there's no C4s or Tachanka Shamikas there to deny it. In general, I think that's what we're looking to get rid of, followed by the Ying as well, which is kind of, again, an execution operator. As for Gege, though, they get rid of the Cave and the Flash, but they still leave a lot of the defensive stronghold operators open.
The biggest thing that I'm a little bit worried about is when you ban the Glaz, or you don't ban some of the more meta characters that are available to the attacking side, are you leaving too many tools to deal with for the attacking side to cook with? We can immediately see Rexon hopping on the Blackbeard. They've had great value out of the success, but something that I'm really happy to see from the side of Psychopatas is operators like the Smoke and the Tachanka. We understand that we might be giving some of these meta operators available so they can take that map control. We're basically forcing GK to come to us. Just like we did on Bank, we can sit deep in the site. We have angles from below as well to negate this entry into the site itself. So if Psychopatas, if they can keep this plan in their grasp and execute their ideas well, they should be able to start off really well, as I like the strategy that I'm seeing for their defense.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think it's going to be great to see Psychopatas, like you said, chunk up Smoke, similar to how the bottom floor on Bank plays to a certain aspect. But hey, we're going to have to see how it works out, because we've also seen Primin take a slight bit of damage now, unknown where it came from. PK, on the other hand, not wasting a moment to bring out the shield and their opening kill, as Hungry is able to pick up on that Smoke that we were so hyping up. I love hyping up the Smoke, only for him to die within the first 40 seconds.
I don't know how they keep getting away with it, Puffo. They just seem to find these entries on some of the most important operators round to round, and unfortunately that's why GK just are the demons that they are.
That's a nasty angle we saw there from Hungry all the way into sight. Are you kidding me? Even then, Primin might not be safe to step a step forward. Although, however, GK, they want to advance towards multiple positions at once. Just going in from the bathroom side simply won't suffice. You want to take front, you want to take back as much as you simply can to overpressure Psychopatas and can them to their sight so they're stuck in it, not given much movement.
They're just being constricted, but Primin's going to find one as he finds one back. Taking out the Capital as well, finally finding an important operator on the attacking side to trade it out, as Forever's going to join him as well. This is the aggression we needed to see, as they're not going to lie down and let GK swamp over them as we find ourselves in this 4v3.
We hope Psychopathes get a bit more used to this aggression, right? It really fits their style, because right now, even though Mezzanine is being overtaken by pressure operators such as Rexon, and you have Rorik to his right, Psychopathes are still looking to bite back. Even though they have the advantage, it's this up-tempoed aggression that they can really display themselves with. The C4 is ready. We saw a nade, but it wasn't directed towards the Nu, giving us the little bit of detail that maybe Geeky don't have the information on this bandit fully. Waiting for the Tachanka to swing. Raxo's death here will prove to be quite great. Also, the lovely A-Strike. I'm actually really appreciative of it. We get to see it, but that's all summer's gone. You get yourself that opening. The Tachanka swinging in for a couple, but not a couple enough.
We need to rely on this Tachanka and C4. They have this avenue open, but we have the lineup to deny this. Just keep shooting that fire and repel Geeky out of the sight.
We're going for a plan. Shamikas are going to show themselves as precedented, but the push-up from the attackers will not be stopped, and it seems the commit will be done. They were not positioned well enough, although they still do claim Packbull as he burns away, as his final two teammates now are left down to hold the site. They are covering each other's backs, which is great. You also have that shield who can kind of protect himself and the defuse, bait out some of these shots, and play around Psychopathes and their aggression, who, speaking of which, the Mira now revealing herself. Forever just got attempted for a moment. Rexon trying to block out the line of sight so the diffuser can be stuck on through, but as one player falls, Psychopathes return that aggression likewise. Rorik going for the Headhunter, but it's already being stuck through, and he will not be there in time to deny it, nor will he be able to get any extra kills, as he shot out while trying to get back. Just like that, Psychopathes with our first round.
And what a way to turn the round on its head. So Psychopathes understood they needed to get aggressive. They found the trades and had the man count, and they understood they had the utility as well to stop this bomb going down. Although the kit did go down, the Tachanka fire did net a kill as well, and then it's a lovely 4v2 retake for the side of Psychopathes to get the round over the line and to start off map 3 in the way they needed to.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defeated by
100%.
attackers.
Going to this bottom floor. This is kind of your go-to on ranked, right? You go top, you go bottom, then middle if you have to, but Psychopathes, this is not a side that can be easily played. Again, the defensive will need to extend upstairs, but we've been seeing that Psychopathes, when they play aggressive, when they're actually comfortable, they can really stand up to Geeky. I want to see more of that from them.
That's what we want to see. More and more, give us more, so we can see you extend this series beyond this map. Lair is not something we've seen often, so it gives us a chance to see both of what these teams have cooked, what they've VOD reviewed, as we've got the Lord again here on the basement site, and I love how much we're utilizing this operator to sort of waste time and keep the defense in the game.
Get to see Tachanka once more. This is lovely for the Lord, the so-called king of Rainbow Six Siege. He was never even considered the pick back in the old days, but now he's favored among sides like Bank, or maps like Bank and Lair. Oh, the look at Psychopathes. They've set a player really close to Hungry here. He's gone on his drone. He's pushing down another, and I think, yep, there goes the spot. The leg gave it away, but still a couple of swings. The Nu stuck around just for long enough to be dealt a bit of damage, but does escape nonetheless. We do see that Psychopathes are looking around, trying to find the information, and even off to an early kill towards Hungry, which definitely would be a benefactor, but for now, we're going to back off.
And good early damage dealt, and we're going back to that 10-second meta. The Psychopathes just burn the time, force Geeky to run out of time and use that time as a sixth man. We don't want to give up anything early, as these angles, they might just catch out the feet here.
Things are there, but I don't think it's going to come around to fruition, sadly so. And Psychopathes are going to continue wasting time, even though I like how Geeky, they put down a lot of these drones. They're starting to gather as much information as possible and even work around it, but it goes against him because Primin's swing is able to find Rorik, who attempted to confront these defenders in their own ground. It kind of didn't work out the best, and now Geeky are left without their Deimos.
And we've got only the sledge to make verticality here. They're just trying to wait for a member of Psychopathes to overextend, but we need to see them start to force these players out of the key positions like Toxin, where you can hold amazing crosses across the bomb site. There's still a lot of time left on the clock. They've still got utility in their pockets to be able to deal with this as they force their way down these stairs. Now they've got a mirror to deal with as well, and not a lot of utility left that can specifically target this mirror.
Yeah, the Blackbeard shows his face for a single second, and he returned right back to where he came from. A Claymore set down right next to Danu, and I wonder if he's going to get spotted. Possibly feeling the need to retreat, but it doesn't seem like he's affected by any utility. Does get away, just limits himself distance-wise for a bit. Packful falls, and that's just going to be a second confirm here for Sikapadas. And they're starting to bleed out GK once more, who do have a couple of ops left. But in the 3v5, it might be difficult to find your breakthrough into sight.
It's just uncharacteristic of Geeky as they're struggling to get these openings. They do find one. The nade is going to dislodge this player as well, but the smoke babe's been thrown out. Is going to cause a bunch of chaos for Geeky as they try and find a way into this bomb site.
Yeah, Geeky's two-man rendezvous upstairs really making it difficult to pass on through your own site, as Rexon thankfully have that shield, but completely explodes. What does it matter? Now shotgun up close, throws the nade, chucks it out. You're still limited out with this fire, and you're the one who has the case. Now where do you go? You hope that Hungry's able to clean up the rest of the defenders, but won't be getting past one. Coles finds another double swing here going against him, and all that's left will be the Tachanka, who's been holding this Blackbeard at bay for so long.
How did
But
he do
Eagle
it?
finds them all. He's burying graves. He's digging up numbers, and he's found Geeky round number 1.
And what a way to force the issue. They just send it. They have trust in each other back to back, getting the kit down. And the cover is just phenomenal from these Geeky players. It doesn't matter how much time is left on the clock. They just know where they need to hold. There's 9 seconds left on the clock here. The kit goes down with 3 seconds left on the clock. But Eagle is just him as he finds both of these players on the cover, and they steal the round away from Psychopatas once again.
I feel so heartbroken by that double swing. Danu already low on HP, trying to support his teammate who's down, but he reveals his shoulder that just before he quick peeks, he's already shot out and downed. It's unfortunate to say the least, but again, Sikapatas clearly had themselves high ground. They were at a 3v2, it was at 9 seconds, and was unprecedented, but Geeky still stuck it on through, and with a hold of Eagle, he once more does it. This man should not be a coach. Put him on the main roster. He's been really doing due diligence for Geeky here. No doubt about it there, but hey, it's the first round. Only passed on through. Patters can still get back into this game.
And something that's really interesting to note is this is where Psychopatas have decided we don't want to repeat sites. Especially when we saw on Bank, Psychopatas were very adamant to go to the primary 2 bomb sites, whereas here on Lair, they've actually chose to switch it up and go to this mid floor rather than a repeat of the site they just lost. This is going to provide Geeky with a new challenge. They're going to have to scope out the site and what's going to be held. And I love the fact that we've got the Cade, also the Bandit, to borrow combination being brought out. That electricity combined with that freeze will allow them to hold on to that top floor for a lot longer and use those vertical angles to shut Geeky out of the site itself.
Opening up a couple of these windows, sending Hungry down from below. Come back to bite Sikapatas in the back later on if they're not too cautious about where this sledge goes to roam. Wonder where Primon's taking all this damage. It's Ego once more. You can always count on the man, the mid, the legend to kick things off as he found himself that Tubarao. So delaying of the breach after those batteries are gone might be inevitable. In the meanwhile, though, Eagle with a second already. That's why he's backed up by Rexon as well. They're going out on a bit of a hunt, a bit of a limp, but they found themselves 2 already. And Sikapatas are kind of an arm and a leg down already. Priven forever, Mira shattered, and player gone. Another fire here, and Rexon's able to light the spark for Geeky once more, as now they have dealt quite the blow, but overzealousness can be quite a bite backer. Now we do have a return finally. Another swing from Raxo, hoping to even things out, but he's not able to do so successfully. And all that Geeky need to do now is hunt down this final Danu, who I imagine is quite scared, but left alone upstairs next to the Blackbeards. Know about him though. Yep, Rorik is just able to find that last glimpse and paints the picture red.
And it's just confidence at this point. Geeky aren't doing anything special. They just walked in through ops behind the Blackbeard, guns blazing like it's the Wild West, and just found everybody. Unfortunately for Psychopatas, they weren't seemingly ready for that level of aggression as Geeky just swept through that top floor.
Teams Giga have once more cracked the code. Sikapatas might need to recipher, but in general, we're past this 3rd round, and it seems like our current lead holder is none other than Geeky. We go for the 3rd ban, we get rid of the Blackbeard, which, after the performance we've seen on him and what it has caused in this prior round, I don't blame him. And Amguns, We get our first tactical timeout in map number 3. It only took 3 maps.
And it's GK that's called attack timeout. I don't know why. Who knows why GK need this attack timeout, but it is our first and hopefully of a few, as you do get 1 per map. And it's almost a waste not to use it. I think GK, they're just looking to get under the skin of Psychopatas here and try and unsettle them, as after that round, almost toying with their opponents, as it seems, even though they've lost Skipper, they're still firing on all cylinders as they just dominating this game at the moment.
Best advice you can have is bite the bullet. Keep up what you did in the first round. You won. You have returned 2 in a row. Maybe your time to get back into the trend of things. You are still on the defensive. 3 more rounds remain. You can find yourself on that winning half. You're going to need to make sure each round from now on counts as much as possible. And again, the Blackbeard, though, was just so dominant, but the rest of the players from GK can't take the credit away from them, because Rorik and alongside Eagle, they were able to essentially remove the entirety of Psychopatas by their own 2 hands.
It's just, this is where Psychopatas, we need to change the script. We've been going for these very normal setups, you could call them, where we're relying on this utility, which sometimes has worked, but it's not even on the strategy at this point. We just need the side of Psychopatas to get some energy in themselves. This is all going to come down to the mindset of Psychopatas and how willing they are to fight back in this series. When you're under this kind of pressure, this is where heroes are made. This is where you make a name for yourself. But right now, Psychopatas, they need to find a way to find that motivation to get themselves back into the series. Because if that last round is anything to go by, Psychopatas, they look winded, unfortunately.
They're a bit exhausted, but we're only in map number 3. We have to keep it going if we want to reach further into this best of 5. We're going into round number 4 here. We have a set of players downstairs, which is where Primin is going to lie. Trying to go for this run out, doesn't catch anyone on rappel just yet. I don't know if he was going off a pure fluke or possibly a sound call, but either way, he gets out safe and sound. So does any of the GK players who did not end up being there. Drone as well. The information gathering from this attacking side has been nothing but phenomenal.
And they're going to switch to take a little bit here. They're going to go to get this main breach open this time around, rather than relying on just the ace to open up that little avenue that cost them last time around. But Rorik, again, he's taking this highway side, and it's because of these pre-placed drones. They're able to take so much map control so quickly because they just can have someone sit on that camera and take this space.
We're going to play the patient game. Bit of mind games here. Pop the environmental gas can. Axo is popping Hungry in the meanwhile, so that's your sludge to fall. And again, setting aside one player to hopefully be a backstabber towards that end game will no longer be an option. We do see the banded batteries. Oh wait, do we see a mirror trick on that wall by chance?
It was a mirror
that's
trick.
Exactly.
It was a mirror trick.
I like it. Psychopatas bring us more.
And they're trying to get both sides of this operational breach open. The ace has been impacted out as well, so Psychopatas doing a great job of keeping everything closed, as Rorik will find a trade back, but they haven't got the access into the bomb site that they're hoping for. There's no ace charges left, so they're going to have to decide which wall they want to get open and which one's more important to try and get this diffuser down.
Same plan they did earlier. Or do they want that access from the outside? Pick your poison, GK. Psychopatas sting it right on you. Even though a 4v4 has been established, you have to consider that with these mirrors being shattered, time will still be wasted. We open it up so the attackers will have to back off for a slight moment. Gotta be wary of who lurks around it. And speaking of which, Rorik seems to have caught a glimpse of Raxo finding the kill, but now without being heavily injured in the meanwhile. And now the attackers looking to climb into climax. Danu exposing himself, but not enough to be killed in the moment. Trying to support his mirror and crossing out the single individual. Footies are spotted, going for pre-fires. Rorik will not fall just yet. He pulls out the pistol in desperation, but that's given enough of a moment, enough of a slight slip up for Gike to use that distraction to climb into sight, get that plan down, and now have Psychopatas wondering how do they get away from this. It's desperate, it's gone, and it's Rexon to finish things off, as now it's Gike 2 rounds away and in the lead of Psychopatas.
There's so many heroes in this GK roster. There's so much talent, and this time around it's going to be Rorik to find a 3K seemingly out of nowhere. Puffo, they're just finding these players on the rotates left, right, and center, and it's just painful to watch, as unfortunately for Psychopatas, they just can't deal with this ghost pressure, that because GK just surround the bomb site itself and they just find players left, right, and center.
They do, but in the end stage as well, Sycopatus, they let that single player Rorik here be too much of a distraction. Look, yes, he maybe gets killed, but in the meanwhile, Sycopatus left an entire site open for the attackers to crawl on in, even isolate the Izami Primin alone, and then all that's left is Forever. Sadly, will not be true to his name. Now we head to a 3-1 downstairs once more. Sycopatus almost had it previously, but how many times in this entire matchup have we said almost?
Too many, Puffo. Too many times we've said that this should be a round that Sycopatas are looking to win. But again, it's not over. You still have 2 more defenses to get an even half to keep yourself in the game. And this is where we need to dig deep. The timeout that GK took is almost a favor from them. It allows Sycopatas to sort of compose themselves and figure out what they need to do to get themselves back into the game. And it's got to be the communication. They need to keep themselves mentally in the right place to ensure the comms keep flowing, so they can't allow GK to keep stealing these rounds away. Because when those comms break down, that's what gives these opportunities over to the side of GK, and that's what we need to just firm up on and just play off the back of each other.
Ooh, Forever could find one. No, Eagle just getting away, and again, these small opportunities are given. Forever has a second chance, and he's able to grip on over it as tight as ever and finding the opening. That's the Capitale. What the icing on the cake. Sycopatus couldn't have asked for a better operator to find first.
Lots of utility taken off the board, and this is where Forever's just going to keep holding on to this position. It's too early to give up the verticality to Solidar GK, which can then be used to force mistakes out of Sycopatas. So they've got the opening pick. Now just back each other up and hold on to the space.
Back each other up. Don't go for these swings that could go against you. Or my bad calls. He's going to shut me up real good. Rexon, though, on the other hand, is able to take a back 1 kill of his own. As now, though, it is a 3v4. Some of your players have gone damage. That is for both teams. But verticality is GK's to claim. They have cleared out this top floor. Maybe sacrifice a player or 2 for it. But they have plenty of time in the other hand.
There's going to be a roadblock in the form of Danu posted up on that rear staircase, just waiting for someone to challenge him. Swing me out, as Danu just will not be phased by it. As the challenge comes in, he punishes that from Packball, as GK, uncharacteristically once again, this round has sort of really fallen away from them, as Sycopatas, when they get aggressive, when they believe in themselves, they make it happen, as Prim's going to keep it rolling.
Belly flopping over towards Toxin. He does not care, Rexon. You can walk on in, but you're going to be a victim to my bullets. As speaking of, Hungry's the last one standing here, and unless he's finding a 1v4, this should be Sycopatas' round to claim. He's still sledging around, hammering things down, trying to find himself these 1v1. Again, he can certainly claim there's a certain amount you can get before you run out of time. Much players to find.
And the setups are paying off. They believe that they can win these rounds, and that's what's getting them over the line. They can shoot back. They're not just they belong to be here. That they deserve to be here. Then they just need to believe in that to sort of take this even half and then carry that momentum into their attacking half.
Carry it into their second half. You're gonna have to see it. Sycopatas, you still have one more round. Definitely keep up this tempo, right? Forever being as confident as ever, able to dodge a couple of bullets, and Rorik not claiming all of his. It's an alignment that Sycopatas really need, but they have to be consistent with it. Coles with a beautiful one-tap there. There's no way taking it away from him. Put that man on the highlights constantly. General, though, DK, although they still hold the 3-2, imagine on the attacking side, the pressure that they could overload Sycopatas with if they found that fourth.
Could have been a very, very different round for GK if they did find that round. Indeed, but Sycopatas, back to the top floor we go. We've let one round slip, but we can put that behind us. We know what works for this site. They've played it. This will be the 3rd time they're playing it. And in my opinion, we just want to go back to basics. Yes, we generally extend to hold on to that highway side, but by having that rotate open is giving lines of sight available to GK to hit them from different angles. And that's where I almost want to see them go old school. Just basically bunker into the site. Because if we think back to when we did win on this bomb site, when we just could focus the main push of GK, we did a great job on the retake. We had a lot less to worry about. And that's what got us the round. So Sycopatas, I feel like, are almost overcomplicating their setups. Because these are not uncommon things they're doing, but they need to make the adjustments to make it easier for themselves.
final breach on Geeky. So the effect the bandit ban has had. Final couple of rounds. But that bandit is replaced by a Mira and Tubarão, which, well, it's had its effect in the past. Paris, maybe they find a couple more, but for current PK, seen how aggressive Cicapadas can play. They've seen how quickly Cicapadas can turn the tides around. Don't want to give them that leverage just yet.
And nice early work from Geeky to sort of clear some of the setup that they're seeing on this operation side, as Prim's going to take a lot of damage once again, just to keep this mirror alive and well. I don't know how he's got away with that, as he looks to waste as much time as he can posted up on this ops position. And this is what Geeky need to find a way to deal with. They've got the Capital Fire, they can send the Ash below, but the question is going to be, how much time can we waste?
I doubt Priven's going to be getting away with it for a second time, but he got rid of a Selma. He's wasted a bit of time, and most importantly, he's distracted Geeky. He's forced them to use extra bits of utility. Now Priven can just back off to site. He can be as comfortable as he wants, while Forever really tempted once more to swing out towards bathroom window, is having shots delivered his way, just wasn't past his head, but none connect, and that's all that matters. So Cicapadas, considering they're not playing aggressive, they're still doing quite good. C4 sent, and a great connection. Forever will find Rorik amongst the outside players. It's a pickup here for Cicapadas.
And it's taken the ace charge off the wall too, so that Mez wall is not going to get opened up unless we can rotate Packball over to sort of try and get this breach and to open up this double avenue into the site. They will get the main breach open, but this is where for Cicapadas, we can lean into the smoke, lean into the Capital to burn that time away and to keep Geeky out of the site itself. The Chunker has worked so well so far, so keep using it and keep everybody alive until the last few seconds of the round.
Yeah, this is the roughest part here for Geeky. Still doable, but definitely low chances, right? You got to find that breaker through while Packball still lurking down below, trying to find a bit of these Romans, which in the end results in you fighting Ghosts. Cicapadas not feeling the need to swing just yet. They are being burnt out of the moment, but Geeky are the ones whose clock is ticking down. From down below, you spot the mirror. Could be a great opportunity. A couple of shots, able to finish Eagle in the meanwhile. More damage for Rexon, who's able to fight before going out. Just hold the diffuser. A nade right below Primin as he gets taken out by. You need to switch position. Couple more seconds, and they rely on this final one to stick it through. Rexon finds the shot, tries to approach this planter, and is risking his life forward. He's such low on HP. There's little to no time. The defuse will be stuck on through, but it matters not. As Cicapadas find the final remnants of Geeky, and they get themselves the last round within this first half.
And they've got an even split. It's by the book, by the statistics, as we get this even half, and now we need to build on it. We've got a huge defense to keep the score even and keep ourselves in this series. Now it's going to be all down to the bands. Let's try and make it as easy as possible for ourselves to get some attacking rounds on the board.
Get some attacking rounds, right? Geeky have done it, Cicapadas. This is a map where you can really start bringing it back once more. We're back to the bands here. Now we're going to see the Glaz on the other side. See a defensive Russian for a change of pace, and it's the Tachanka being taken off board with the Monty from Geeky, which kind of fits according to what we saw the bands on Chalet be like.
Indeed, the shields are extremely strong, and Cicapadas have shown time and time again how effective they can be by using those shields to get inside the building. And I love the interactions between the attack and the defensive bands. Geeky clearly wanting to keep those breaches closed, use some of the tactics that Cicapadas were using on their defense by keeping those breaches closed, but both teams very, very wise to what each other are getting on with, as we see the Cade and the Maverick banned out. So this means that it's just those bandit batteries and mute jammers that are left alive to keep these breaches closed, which should be easy enough to deal with by Cicapadas.
Yeah, I gotta give it to Geeky though. In rounds like these, normally with such pressure, you most of the time tend to crumble, and that is what ended up being the result, but they still fought back. They were given little to no choice in that final round, and even with rougher starts on that opening C4 kill, they still managed to continue, and that's what's so terrifying about them, right? They found a bit of a crack through Cicapadas' armor, and they almost converted that into a round themselves, but the likes of Cicapadas get themselves that 3-3.
10 seconds left before insertion.
I'd also hope they could start
5
considering
seconds left
tactical
before
timeouts to maybe freshen up their mental and reset the tempo.
Attackers
I think it's all going to come down to how these first few attacking halves go. If we attack the two primary bomb sites and they don't go our way, that's where I think it's really perfect timing to use that attack timeout as the one-tap spawn peak almost removes the Kopitas early, as Eagle's going to get caught extending on the shot through the window as well. So this is great news for Skopitas as they punish the early aggression from GK.
That's a lot of damage onto a Clash, and considering that Clash is normally who ends up taking the majority of damage, a single bolt from that Capitao, and it's over, right? Eagle's down. Packbull as well. Shouldn't have risk. It's tried to go for his chance. A bit of a gambit can go his way. Hey, we carry on again. Geeky, they always go for these bits, moments of where they bite off more than they can chew, per se. They do get away with them, and have in the past. But this time around, Sycopatis aren't going to be as easy to let them get off the hook.
And now that we have a little bit of initial control, initial bit of damage dealt, the Kopitas are playing this very slow, very methodical style of siege, where they're just making sure they don't let any cheeky plays come out from Geeky. We do see a Valkyrie with Hungry posted up downstairs in Armory, as he will get spotted out, shoot the fire extinguisher, and make his way out of there, as this is a ops-focused take coming in from the side of Sycopatas.
Ooh, Hungry taking damage. Deathmark there as well, really forcing them back to side, because Sycopatis don't want to risk a C4 below their feet when they're in their most valuable moments. Let's say it like that. But in general, Raxo taking killer of the shield.
Nice.
He goes with a single shot. Eagle is out of the competition. That's your Clash gone quite early. Although Sycopatis have cleared out this bottom floor and the mid ground in general, GK still have the entirety of their setup that Sycopatis need to run through.
We still need to get these breaches open, as Hungry's going to fire back as he takes down Cole. So that sense, that execute utility going to be taken down in this mid-round. But they still don't have Mez control here, Puffo. Aruni is still posted up, waiting, all in this space, which is going to provide a buffer from the site itself. As that clock keeps ticking, they need to do something about it as the nades start to fly in. They do find Raxo in the process. As Sycopatas, have they taken too long?
They might have. They gave away too much headspace for Geeky to work around, but the shotgun comes in work as Primin's able to find Rorik overextending, trying to finish off the job he started as Raxo is picked on back up. Sycopatis now needs a full send it into sight, but again, they're blocked out by so much utility. There's a C4 on Packbull, a Rudy's, barbed wire. You have to find a way around them or just forcefully push through, but brute force normally isn't the best of directives. Although Primin does have a bit of a catch on one being right next to this breach, but he can't do much about it without granted information. Hungry swings out. He's going to need to force his way out of that position while Rexon is forcing himself forwards with Hungry's attempts. GK are left himself in a 3v1, and Raxo's all that remains for Sycopatis to fight with into this defensive. It's GK to take us on with their first round. What ending?
And it's just the composure and the confidence from Geeky. Because the breaches aren't open, you have the Valkyrie with all of that space to enable the crossfire from Geeky to hold on to the site. It's a 4v3 advantage to the side of Sycopatas, but they aren't able to utilize the bodies as they weren't able to make the adjustment that they don't have enough time to get the breach open and go for the defuse. They had to swarm the site and get aggressive, so the decision making as the clock ticks down not going in Sycopatas' favor, as their style of play where they really try and get every avenue open and stick to their game plan, really coming back to bite them. As look how comfortable Geeky are just playing all these different angles because these breaches aren't open.
Yeah, we have, what, 2-3 players on Sycopatis low on HP, forcing or wanting to force their way into sight, but there's just, again, Aruni's Bart, you can't really do it without having to have a bit of sacrifice on your own, and in the end, attackers were forced out of their objective. Now going on to this bottom floor, hopefully Sycopatis have a better time going into side itself. We've seen on the attacking side that they can clear out roamers quite well. They can also play around these floors that aren't on the same ground as the site itself. But when it comes down to the execute alone, there are still some patches, or rather wounds, that need to be patched.
The thing Sycopatas need to be careful of is the way Geeky can bait these roam clears. We've seen on the previous couple of maps that when Geeky are roaming, it's never just one guy. There's always a couple of guys backing each other up, but that's where for Sycopatas, we have the Dokkaebi and the Blitz, which can face check a lot of the common angles and give us information on how many people are spread out across the second and third floor. So that way we can use the sledge to get active, create that verticality we need later on.
Oh, we're going to have a glimpse of the Aurora. Lovely. One downside here for Scapadas. Primin is all alone. Yeah, get yourself back outside. Never mind. He's going to go to
No
pick up the
way.
zone, and he might be a lamb for the slaughter shots his way, but he doesn't know what's right beneath the desk. Hungry's been hiding that entire time, and you lose that Aurora oh so quickly. Scapadas shouldn't have given it away. Danu pushing himself forward with that blitz. A couple of side shots through these windows. What a setup here. He is exposed for the moment being, but Danu hasn't fallen just yet, although only a matter of time until blood is spilt once more, because Danu's low on HP, and he keeps on being delivered these shots. Geeky with 2 in an instant. Quick succession found. 2 players on Scapadas to be left up for it. A down, you're overexposed, and there's 2 players crossing you out. Hungry keeps on re-swinging and finds himself the pre-last. Speaking of which, Coles is all that Scapadas have, and where has it gone all so wrong? I'm going to...
They had a drone. There was a drone, like right there, and they just didn't check behind the desk. And unfortunately, when we're in these best of 5s, because we've been playing for so long, look at the amount of confidence coming in. Coles will find one. The swing from the shotgun will put him into the ground. As it's just they're struggling for momentum. That the belief that they had from those last couple of rounds just isn't there. And GK are just they've been here before. The amount of finals that they've been in, Puffo, the experience that GK have, fatigue is just not even a thing that's going to come into GK's mind. And Securitas just can't seem to get anything going because, you know, we're 3 hours deep into this series. Is the fatigue starting to set in? Has that belief worn off as Securitas just gets slaughtered?
I think it's rather than Securitas feeling the fatigue, it's Geeky just getting better throughout time and time. I mean, right now they focused a lot of their setup towards this top floor, knowing that Securitas were going to clear the top deck. In general, Securitas, I think it would have been better if they just directly rushed site from the same ground that the bombs lie on, and it would have been a different result, maybe even one where they could have won off. But right, how could they know that? Geeky have just been reading them 12 steps ahead of time. Well, now we stand once more in a position where Geeky are 1 round away from match point. Securitas still falling behind, living in their shadow, and hopefully able to turn things around, but sooner or later, might be able to finish out this grand final sooner than expected.
This might just be GK's greatest asset, is their experience and their ability to read the game. You saw as soon as this mid-floor take came in, how many GK players were swarming over that lobby area and just in every place they needed to be to counter what Securitas were doing. Securitas just, they're doing the things they need to do, but GK are just flying on cloud 9 right now.
Shout out for the Glaz. Securitas are bringing out the operator that's been feared by both teams apparently for quite a while, but Securitas now, are we going to see the results of why that Glaz has been banned on map number 1 and 2? Guess we're going to have to let time tell. In the meanwhile, GK once more sitting comfortably, even though then still extending heavily. A bit of a run out from Hungry, displaying that confidence at its full. And 3 players on this top floor. C4 sent out, but it was only a bait. Rexon still looking to swing alongside of it. And even Hungry on his backside.
They've got 5 C4s in the lineup. They've got C4s to spare, as this is the first time we've seen GK without Skipper in the lineup, and big shoes to fill. Eagle has rised up to the occasion, but taken out by Coles early in this round as they look to contest this top floor. So a good opening kill for Securitas as they look to take this map control and use that verticality for their own.
Both stepping in, a bit of difficulty found once you want to go through these windows. Again, they recognize that Geeky are all around these corners, and that's why Coles is playing so safely. As Securitas have spread themselves out, but that gives Hungry the opportunity to swing out for 1, get back the Lost Eagle, at least avenge him for the bare minimum. C4 right on it, and we're back to bank, square once more. 2 kills for Hungry to claim. He's back and skip the scales in the favor of Geeky, as now they remain 1 player above. The Glaz has a good angle, but there's no one swinging into it. Again, Geeky considers some of these battles unwinnable, and Forever's will be one that they did not take into account, as a nade claims 1, the second into run out, and finally Securitas are punishing Geeky where they should be punished, leaving Packful in a 1v3 and a C4, hoping to find the final few.
And now we've got a 3v1. This is where we just need to hold hands and take this fight together. Purple's got 3 full HP players to fight, and the Glaz, who should have the thermal vision later on. Purple's got full information on the kit here with a C4 in hand. They're going to set the trap. They're going to be able to feed the comms to his teammates, or from his teammates, when to blow that C4. So Securitas, they have a low drones in pocket to be able to find out where this last player is. as Packball, he's just setting up these lines of sight. He's anticipating where Psychopaths are going to hit the site from, as there's only 20 seconds left. And in these low time situations, Puffo, we know what can happen.
User is picked up. The C4 won't be blown up in time, and Packball's just trying to weigh out the options. Where would Psychopaths push on from? Will it be this one doorway? Will it be the hatch? He seems to have locked down his option. Nomad peeks for a single, but he recognizes just a bit too late that Primin's on his 6, finding the last. It's a round back for Psychopaths, and this is what we need to see, but not just one round, Damn Guns. We need them more.
We've proven to ourselves we can get the rounds over the line. We know what we're doing. We can punish the aggression that we're seeing from GK, and we can get ourselves in the building. We just need to restore the belief that we can do it back-to-back rounds. Because of the advantage GK have built in the game so far, if they keep trading rounds with GK, it will be a regulation win for GK once again. So this round in particular is a big, big round to gatekeep GK away from match point and to break that trading of rounds to get themselves on even footing.
Addis, they required it. What a funky nade kill. I just can't get away from. I can't never giggle.
The dodgy rotate. It's the dodgy rotate, Puffo. If they made the rotate properly, he would have got away.
Protect your bombs from
You gotta, GK are such a well-advanced team, but when it comes down to rotates, God forbid those being good.
But unfortunately for Psychopaths, it leads into the narrative that they're being gifted these rounds rather than having to work hard for them. I really want to see in this round, Psychopaths put their mark on the round, grab this game by the scruff of the neck, and start putting GK under some serious pressure. The shields have been phenomenal for Psychopaths to allow that to happen. So it's nice that we've swapped the Blitz out for the Blackbeard to maybe provide a bit more security to the shield player and allow Psychopaths to make the right decisions to punish what they're seeing. Because right now, it's that decision making that's been lacking for Psychopaths. When they see the problems that GK are presenting, they just haven't dealt with them in the right way. And hopefully with the lineup that we see here, by not bringing the Blackbeard, which is really annoying, by using the information combined with the Deimos, for example, and having a lot more soft destruction with the Flores and the nades, that can help us plow through this defensive lineup.
I think the Flores is going to be really valuable. Like the last time around we were on this top floor, we saw that Psychopaths really struggle finding their entry in. Again, a bit too much utility. How do you clear it? You throw a bunch of Reteras in their face, and it's going to be a job well done. Again, Psychopaths early game has been promising for at least the majority of these rounds. Final part of the round is what matters most. And again, you getting yourself into that site and being then contested by the Yokais, by the smokes, that's where it gets troublesome.
It's where it gets troublesome indeed, but that's why we send the Deimos below. We can take Packball out early, find him through the floor, or just have the support we need. When we face an operator like the Echo, the main thing to fight is the clock. He comes into a world of his own like we saw on Bank, when there's these time scrambles, when there's low time situations, and that's why GK keep bringing him, because they know Psychopaths is a 10-second meta team. Every time Psychopaths have attacked so far throughout this series, they're cool, calm, and calculated, but the downside is there's very little time left on the clock, and that's where Echo really shines.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he shines all right. Although, haven't seen much denials because GK are just so good that at times they deny Psychopaths from entering the building at first step. Risking a really valuable asset here, but thankfully Coles is able to support the ace in his doings by taking him out. That's Rexon. His aggression shut down quickly and the fire extinguished for now. Psychopaths can advance forward as they've been able to cover over this upside and continue towards their breach. But in the meanwhile, again, Bathroom has been a difficulty for both these teams. How's Danu gonna get away with it? I only wonder to myself.
And this is really good opening work from the side of Psychopaths. Extremely common position for defenders to sit in, and a calm, calculated method for taking control of this area. With 40 seconds left on the clock, they now need to look to get these breaches open as Rory's going to find one through the floor. Surely we trade him out here. We do indeed, keeping the man advantage in our favor, but this is where we need to find a way to get that kit down, as there's still a C4 in Hungary as well.
Yep, And of course, the Capatas need to take into account that there's a player below. Like you said, at C4, that's going to be really dangerous. Danu is dealing some diligence, though, on site itself. Packball falls, and that's going to be your Echo gone, meaning Capatas in their last few seconds will matter a lot as Eagle shuts down Coles and his progression. As now Capatas, 3 players, can we do it? Have to set ourselves into a position where the C4 won't reach us, but it's going to be these smoke babes repositioning us right into the hands
Eagle
of
is
GK
hidden.
and their shots. Eagle just from above, another down, but the last one's below. And can we find the C4? It's looking for its more. The red ping is there, and it should be done. The final 2 are lamps for the explosion. And now GK stand on match point for the 3rd time today.
I don't understand how Eagle does it. His game sense is phenomenal to understand. He just needs to burn the clock. We are seeing some phenomenal siege coming out from this man as he is filling Skipper's shoes and doing beyond what he needs to give GK the edge in this round. Single-handedly finding 2 and letting the clock wind down to 0, which then gives Hungry with full information the ability to deny this plant and to claim match point. As Psychopatas, they did so well. They had the info on this player below as well, so they should have understood that they need to plant on something or go deep into the site. But when you're in these low-time situations, it's just hard to stay perfect.
I feel bad for Capatas because they were hoping that the Valkyrie was placing that C4, readying it up for the choke or for the throw on a default position. But they didn't have the clue that their each step was being monitored by a black eye. In the end, I imagine that the second Capatas got the notification they were red pinged, you knew it was over. And there's not much you can do when 0 seconds remain. You're resorting down to that diffuser being stuck on through. But we go next. Capatas now. We've seen this on map number 1, I believe. 2 rounds. This matchup is over.
And the problem Psychopatas have got to face is there is a heavy mid-floor extension coming out from the side of Geeke to deny any verticality that Psychopatas might want to use. The fascinating thing for me in this game, Buffalo, we haven't seen a ram at any point when this verticality comes in, especially on this basement site. Neither team has operated to use the ram at any point, which is fascinating to me. That Sledge has risen in popularity. Maybe it's because of that new secondary pistol that Sledge has been given.
Wants to use these new modern fancy gadgets. We're not going to be slaves to modern tech. We're going to use the hammer and we're going to smash our way into these verticals, okay, Amguns? We should know better. The old times are the best times. But in general, it's been working out somehow. And Raxo, I imagine he finds himself comfortable on that L85, which has basically no recoil. In the meanwhile, though, we hope to put those guns to use, and Raxo displaying it at its finest as Hungry falls. That is the Valkyrie that has caused some problems in the past gone, setting her right onto her gadget, now forced to watch these black eyes and gain information, while in the meanwhile, Capatas advance forward. They still have an extra player to clear of, but they are definitely doing it by the book.
And they're showing that they can use the pre-press drones effectively. They can claim these opening picks in their advantage. But now we need to use the Blackbeard in combination with the drones that we still have to make our way through this mid-floor pronto. Psychopatas' greatest enemy has been that clock so far, and that's where Danu on the shield, it's his job to roam clear this map, stick up behind him, get the Dokkaebi calls going. Both have now been used, and as you can see the phones ringing, this should now give Psychopatas the control of that mid-floor they need to let the Sledge go to work. And that's where we can then start holding these key cutoffs to get the diffuser down or force mistakes out of Geeke.
Really would be terrified approaching Eagle here if I was on the side of Capatas. We do set aside some flames. Just limit his movement for a moment, but Eagle needs no need to swing. He knows he can stand around here and just wait for the attackers to come on by, which again is going to be limiting where you can push this from. And speaking of which, 2 go down in an instant. Capatas are offering up bodies way too easily, but the case majorly as well, even with the Yokai on support, just coming in to give more information to the smoke player, as now he's playing it up close with Rorik, because they can just hold this diffuser for 40 seconds, and Capatas, unless they find these 2 players, they will not be able to claim the round.
It's just brilliant team play coming in from the side of Geeke, as that's a freebie for Rexon, as we see Coles trying to get aggressive, trying to make something happen. They will get one back as Primin starts to warm up. Forever is going to get traded out, however, and it's a 1v3 on the series point to keep his team in this game.
And there it is, a down for Primin, but what can you do? The final two players know they have the keys. They don't need to play into your hands. You can just stay on site for as long as you want, but final 5 seconds, you have given the enemy the largest advantage, and you pay the price by losing out the final chance you had in this grand final. It will be Geeky taking it in flawless fashion, 3-0, and a 7-4 scoreline for the last. Sycopatus not up to the task. Maybe next time, but for certain, right now, it will be your winners. Geeky, champions of Season 8.
And we heard it from Southbreach. Geeky want to win everything. And they've just taken a clean 3-0 sweep across what's a very established T2 side and just showing the difference between the people that are grinding for T1 and the people that are trying to grind for T1. So Kopatas, unfortunately today, it's GG's to them, but it just wasn't their day today, as it could have been so different. There was a couple of rounds where if it went their way, Puffo, the scorelines would have been a lot closer. The map counts would have been very different as well. But just the way Geeky can command these games is just phenomenal.
The way they can come from rags to riches, from situations some would only describe as unholy, right? Like we saw in the first round, a 2v4, 2v5 just clutched out by Eagle, who has been an absolute menace. We have to give the hugest shout to Eagle, who's coming in as the supposed coach, but delivering Sycopatus on their backside. I mean, in general, a fantastic performance, and I imagine he's of great support just by being the coach himself, right? He's given the calls, he knows the strategy, like you said in the very early parts, and in general, Geeky, they play this well. Even though they aren't playing with their usual roster, Sycopatus were still not up to the task.
And hopefully Sycopatas can use this as a learning moment. There is still plenty of Siege that happens all year round, and I think this final is going to be maybe what Sycopatas need to elevate themselves to a level that can rival Geeky and get themselves into a better fighting position for things like the EMEA Open Quals. We still have Open SI Quals, if that's going to be a thing this year. So there's still plenty of opportunity for Sycopatas to learn and grow as a team, because it'll be nearly a year until I've been watching Sycopatas. I really wish they can use this as a big learning moment to understand what they need to do to get themselves towards the top of the T2 standings, as I believe this win will take them above the Hawaiians. And I'm not sure exactly where they're going to be sitting in those T2 standings. So they will be taking over that spot, rising in the standings after this final. So they've done well overall, but we need to see more from them.
Yeah, Guns. I imagine the Hawaiians are going to be devastated learning that truth. Truly, what a rough spot to be in. But in general, Sycopatus, they did a good fight. We can't just say that they weren't up to the task and such. They still did good. But again, it was Geeky they're facing. Geeky are on the top of T2 for a reason, and they have a bright future ahead of them, no doubt. Their entire roster, from Packball to Rexon to whatever remains, they have constantly been not only consistent, but dominant throughout the entirety of all our Voltage League, Talent League, you name the T2 tournaments, and you know that Geeky is going to be on top of them. There's a reason they come out on top of this grand final as the 3-0 winners. I mean, that is just absolutely ridiculous. But well played by both of these teams. We're gonna have a bit of a deeper talk, or not rather, we're gonna pass it on to the lovely Travian1 to explain what, why, how, and whatever they have to say. So Travi, take it away. Oh, just a second. We gotta talk.
Oh. No, sorry, Puffo's being cut off there. We cannot be accepting slander of the Hawaiians. Best team in T2, as you all know. No, I'm just kidding. It is Geeky, none other than take the entire series in 3-0 fashion. A dominant showing from them, and one, I've got to be honest to you, did we expect much different? Yeah, as you say, it was expectation of dominance, right, from Geeky. There is a reason they are 3 for 3 in the top T1, top T2 competitions within the primary side of the circuit. They've had a phenomenal showing, and it all just continues through on towards here. I mean, there were glimpses, right? I think it would be wrong to say there were not glimpses of greatness from Sycopatas. From a 3-3 split to start off with a couple of decent attacking rounds, but what went wrong? What caused them to not be able to quite catch up this time?
I think Geeky just almost always found a way to get an advantage. Like in the first attack, they were finally in a 3v1. Second attack, 5v3 down to a 5v1. And then fourth attack defense, I was 1v2 clutch situation, and then in the end 3v1 again. So they always found a way to somehow get a man advantage, and just to get it done so consistently, even though something like your Clash gets taken out quite easily with a Gon 6, like that's a lot of effort you have to put in to make a Clash. Like if you have a Clash and she just dies in a second and you can't do anything about it, that's a lot of
What can you do?
not so good stuff happening. So you have to do a lot of stuff to get back into the round, and winning stuff like that, like incredible.
That's the thing with Geeko. I mean, looking at the notes I've been making throughout this entire match, the one word that comes up more often than not, and it has basically exclusively come through on the side of Geeko, is the word clutch. Time after time after time, whether it's Hungry, whether it's Eagle, whether it's Rexon, Packball, or anyone else, there's always someone coming up huge for Geeko. There's someone with that star factor behind them that really drives them over the line. And it's why, as you say, you can never truly count them out of a round until the final player from their roster drops. A phenomenal showing. And to touch on Fasico Patas, it's a shame it was not a closer grand final for them. I think they will be a little bit disappointed in that they weren't able to take a map from Geeko, possibly even take a little bit more from them. But they've had a good showing tonight, and good is enough, I think, really, for them tonight. It's not total disaster. It's not been the greatest thing ever, but I think, how do you think they'll be feeling about tonight's game?
Yeah, I think they will have exactly the feeling you said, that they think there would have been more to get, and like if it would be a win or not, like getting a map, I think could have been possible. They just lost too many clutches, I would say, and it's always something. If you look back on a match and you see that hurts. But as you all said, there's lots of tier 2 competition going on, hopefully continuously. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them in the Challenger League qualifiers, and then hopefully the Challenger League.
Plenty more to come next year, and there's plenty more to come on the stream as well. While our match has ended, there's still a bit more for us to get through. First and foremost, the giveaway that we have been rambling about all stream. You still got a little bit longer to get yourself into an ! giveaway in chat. Get yourself some rainbow credits, get yourself some points for the game. Next season's Battle Pass, the esports skin, Munich Major bundle, you name it, you can have it with those credits. So make sure to get yourself signed up for that one. Time is running out though at the end of the match. You got to get on it now or forever hold your peace. As for us here over on the analyst desk, we're going to be throwing things off to a very, very quick break while we set up an interview with our victors of the night, GK Esports. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a few. Owen goes down, and the defense is holding on strongly. Giovanni have to try and pull the blast down, but the tunnel won't last. All on the shoulder shoot right now. The drop is going to come through regardless, though. Oh, what a shot there from Maratz, and what a second one as well. Turned around, well, no choice but to rush on in. Shoes gets one, unaware of the Pro Queen 2. What the Devils do? Trajel got a bit of the one time, makes the hop down, trying to catch this player, misses the shots on to Rooney, finds them eventually, and that's a man advantage that's much needed for Diaboli right now. RWL goes up.
But it's not in Project West control. That's the last time lost. A lot of pressure on site. Leon going down. They get Raxo out. It's going to be last for Mark forever. That is exactly. Here comes the corner swing. And wow! Perfect time coming in from MP.
Onto the Monte is just so menacing as he walks up the stairs. The boss G will take off Headbanner, and he's tries to pick off Monte.
That was just huge. That's going to be already all but one extra off the border. Holy crap! The swing!
That blunder, he just got the bombs, but that's not going to be the case. Hexty is going to kick us off.
We cannot choose enough view that there will be no unfortunate chain link of events. And just as we speak of those stands another challenger, the forest drawn there, the Rotero gonna be popped. And the Legion looking for some trouble, and so he
Welcome back on in, folks, to Voltage Series Season 6. Just like that, the game's been over, done, dusted, with GK taking the series in a very quick 3-0 fashion. Now, I get the utmost pleasure of interviewing one of the players from the team, arguably the MVP of the entire series himself. Eagle, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing well. I'm already on a disadvantage. You guys being on a suit and I'm in a t-shirt, that's kind of, I didn't get the memo, guys. You should have given me a heads up.
Apologies. I'll relay that back to the admin team, get them to get you all dressed up nice and fancy in suits later. But listen, I might look fancy, but the performance you guys put into the server, that was nothing short of exquisite. Obviously, just one South Breach, hot off that win, going up a team against a team you've seen plenty of this year in Scopotus. What was the prep looking like for tonight, especially amongst yourself and the rest of the guys, and more so in the map veto especially? What that looked like?
The prep is, a lot of prep goes behind the scenes. People don't see the stuff that goes behind the scene, which is, of course, we're going to show the behind the scenes because they're going to know the strats. So we got to keep it a secret until we can show it on a match day. And that's what we're doing so far. And what the team has been doing is just the efforts of Moraz and Packball and the rest of the players doing everyone's job by doing their VOD reviewing themselves and strat booking and stuff. It's like it becomes a team effort. Yes, some people says, okay, that's the coach job or whatever. No, it's a team effort. Everybody has to do the work in strats and VOD reviews and every single thing. It counts. And that's what put GK and the boys at a top level in tier 2, is that they took this very professionally and the results speak to itself.
Yeah, the results certainly do speak for themselves. I mean, you guys have had nothing short of a dominant year, and what I'm very much hearing is you're only as strong as your weakest link. Everyone's been putting in the work, and it is certainly paid off. And speaking of the team as well, obviously, Skipper's taking a bit of a break from competitive, so we'll be stepping away from the main roster for the moment. Is there anything you can share with us on how yourself is going to presumably be played a bit more in the roster, or what things are going to look like in the future for that in regards to that?
Yeah, losing Skipper, taking a break, that's a rough one. Of course, everybody knows Skipper is an amazing player, a player that cannot be replaced by anyone. Not saying all players are bad, but, Skipper is Skipper. You cannot replace Skipper.
Skipper's great.
Yeah.
Skipper's great.
So losing Skipper is a big hit, but that's the thing, though. Losing one guy, the rest can cover up his position. I cannot tell anything yet so far. There's stuff going on behind the scene. It's a bit secret, because I don't want to spoil stuff, then, because if I spoil stuff, the coach is going to go, mad on me. So I'd rather avoid getting screamed by my coach, leaking stuff.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah, coaches could be quite scary sometimes when you say the wrong things or push them the wrong way. So we'll push away to that side for now, and let's have a chat about the game that we've just seen. There were some close moments in it, especially, Map 1 had a couple of close moments. The first half of Lair was that 3-3, but especially when you guys got on towards that defensive side, it became pretty one-sided at points. What was the difference between GK and Scopotus that really separated the two tonight?
The big separation, I think, is that we went into this game full confident, happy. The vibes were very good, and that what makes the team good. You can have the best strats, the best players, but if the vibes and the mood is not on top, you're gonna lose. So I think confidence and us having good vibes was the two main reasons, I guess, because like I said, you can have the best stuff, but you can lose if you don't have the good vibes. Plus, the work that has been done by the coaches and analysts behind the scenes that could help us succeed in today's matches. So it's simple as that. Just it's a lot of things goes in the background, but you have to show it all in match day. And I'm very happy that the team did show that today on the match.
It really seems like the hard work's paid off for you. Now, as you say, all of that back-end work, it's great that it's actually amounting to something, because it was a really, really good showing. I want to cast your mind quickly back to map 3. Lair, you're 2-1 up, first quarter of the game, and we've not seen one all evening. At this point, tactical timeout comes on in, and oddly, more despite the advantage, you guys are calling it. Was it to talk tactics? Someone needed a quick pee? Or was it a bit of that mental game you guys are famous for employing? What was the idea behind that one?
It was me. I went to the bathroom. I didn't take one on second map, so I just went for a bathroom break. So simple as that. I want to say, oh, we got some strats, countering strats and stuff, and no, that's sometimes lying is bad. You can't lie. That's the truth. That's the truth.
You're on this interview desk, you have to tell us the truth behind everything. So, yeah, there you heard it, folks. If you need to take a pee, Tactical Timeout is your best friend for it. And with most of the T2 tournaments obviously wrapping up for this year, they're sort of starting to come to a close. What's next on the agenda for yourself and the team?
Whatever the team considers the best option right now. Like I said, there's a lot of things going back behind the scenes with Skipper taking a comp break. With the upcoming tournament of Sport LAN, I'll be playing with the boys at the Sport qualifier for the Tier 2 as well. And then we also have the Saudi League Championship game as well, which we'll be playing with me and with the second Saudi, which is Lonely, as at the Saudi League lineup as well. So it's going to be a bit busy day for the GK roster in every upcoming Tier 2 tournament, which we'll be ready for. Because, like I said, the prep behind the scenes, what makes a good team work. And I'm just happy and glad that I have good teammates and a good coach that can help me on the server and off the server as well.
I'm so glad to hear all of this praise constantly coming in. It feels like a really tight-knit unit you guys have got going over there. And as I say, keeps paying off inside of the results, doesn't it? With that all being said, I think that's about the end of the questions I've got for you, Eagle. So before we let you go, is there anyone else you want to give a shout-out to or anything else you want to say to the camera? The floor's yours, mate.
5555. That's it. That's all I have.
Well, 5 more seconds and you're going to be saying goodbye. Thanks for joining me on the interview. Pleasure to have you on the stream. It absolutely brightened up the vibe here. Congratulations on the win. Go take yourself some well-deserved breaks. Though I don't think you're going to be taking a break from the gaming from what you told us. So good luck in the raids tonight.
Thank you.
Take care, man. See you later. Oh, I love those positive vibes radiating out there from the GK camp, don't you? Guys, Puffer, I'm going to start off with you as you're the closest to me. What did you make of that whole interview?
I made out that the one tactical timeout used in the entire grand final was for a donation to the Porcelain Throne. I am absolutely beyond words because of that. I respect it. You know, you don't want to be constantly feeling the urge to go to the toilet throughout that match, but the only tactical timeout, seriously?
It's a choice. It's a choice to do a tactical timeout that way. Now, Guns, I think let's bring things back to the game a little bit. As much I'd love to talk about ways you can use a tactical timeout other than tactics all day. We could be here a while. What were the vibes you felt coming off of GK? Because there's very much energy of confidence there and team cohesion as well, very much at the forefront of that, right?
I think when we look back, especially towards the interview that we had after South Breach with Packball, and we heard it here today from EagleX as well, they're being very professional about this. They clearly have a goal to get to T1, and that's their main ambition at the moment. And they're conducting themselves in a way which gives themselves the best chance and basically establishing themselves as the kings of T2 because they're putting in the hard work to build themselves up as a roster and just be as good as they are. It's clearly a case of everybody in that roster, they clearly all share the same ambitions. They spoke about how they were working with that mentality coach to make sure they were always up to par to perform together as a roster. And just the way they dominate these finals, it clearly shows how much it means to them to win these games and to get themselves into the best shape possible to possibly qualify for EMEA the next time that comes around.
And we spoke a lot about mentality during the desk segments in between the games. And I think it's safe to say it's pretty evident that the mentality in the GK camp right now is all-time high after the last couple of results.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I would say to any point in time, they will have a great mentality, not only by working with a coach, but also by having just that much experience in the roster. Like, we all know how much experience Packball and Hungry, for example, have. And those are just two guys of all of them. So, yeah. Just as Eagle said, maybe he's going to continue playing with them. Maybe not. He just don't want to league. But, yeah, whoever's going to play with them, I envy them because it just sounds like the team is a really great unit. And it sounds like working with them is lots of fun.
Yeah, I just love that it's fun. Like, the entire vibe, as soon as Eagle joined the call a little bit before we came live, I think you three will all agree with me. The vibes just jumped up tenfold. They sound like they're having a lot of fun with the game. And hopefully we can be giving you guys at home a little bit of fun, possibly as well with the giveaway we've got coming up. Last couple of minutes to get yourself entered for that one. 2,670 rainbow credits. So I'm going to throw it to you guys, all three of you in order. You win the rainbow credits. What are you buying? Puffo, start with you again.
Buying the Iron Maiden L85 skin, and then rest of the money is going into my gambling needs for Alpha Pact.
I'm Guns.
It's going to go to the Battle Pass. I haven't actually bought it this season, so it's going straight into that Battle Pass because I've been real with you. I haven't looked in that shop in a long, long time, so it might be worth investing in some esports skins. I'll have to see what. Oh, I know what I'm getting. I'm getting that new Monty skin that came out. The
Elevate.
new anime, Elevate
The
esports
Uwu
skin.
onslaught.
That's where that money's going.
What about yourself?
Yeah, it would definitely be some esports skins. Yeah, lots of great stuff. Not only from my mate Kobe, but especially his stuff I like. And yeah, there's so much to choose from. You get like too much stuff to buy.
There's.
Travi, what are you
Oh,
gonna get?
I mean, my cop-out answer was going to be the Uwu onslaught skin, but confessions, hands up, I already own it. I've owned it since day one, obviously. First and only set I've bought out of the new ones. I'd have to get myself the Munich Major bundle, right? Because we're all going to Munich, I'm pretty sure. So
Yes.
it would be rude not to. Cute little drone, nice little background card, and then I'd save the rest of the credits for the inevitable Hawaiians bundle when we hit T1 at some point.
Hey, that's what we like to see.
In the far future at some point in time. However, that is not all we've got to tell you all folks about tonight, because we've got the EML finals coming up right soon inside of Malta. Top 6 teams from EML as well as the very best of T2. Now, you all have been to Siege events before. Puffo, start with you again. What's it like being at a Siege event? What makes them so special?
It was like home, especially Malta. You know, I haven't been to a major or an invitational, but when I was on my first LAN at Malta, it felt like home. You know, I was with Amguns and Golomolu. It was a fantastic time. It was really just a small community, just getting together and having a bunch of blasts. We went to the other side of the LAN. Me and you, Travi, took a bunch of photos as well. There was cosplayers. Honestly, it was just such a blast.
Whole time through. And Amguns, you've been yourself to some of the bigger events we've had in Siege. What's it like it's being an arena of thousands of Siege fans? What's that like, cheering them on, these teams on as they're winning their glory?
Yeah, Manchester was phenomenal. So the Munich Major is going to be, if not bigger than what we saw over in Manchester. And it's just amazing to be in that arena with all of your fellow Siege people, to have that many Siege people in the same building, rooting for the teams that they want to see win. It's a phenomenal experience and a great chance to hang out with your mates that you've been playing with for online that you may never have seen in person. It's a great way to come together and just have a phenomenal weekend with your mates and enjoy some great Siege while you're at it.
And one for yourself. What's the best memory of any Siege event you've been to? Any Siege thing? What's your number one memory?
Like Berlin Major.
Yes.
It was my first event, and having like Rogue playing there as an EU team against the LATAM team, and they're having a few LATAM fans there, and then basically the whole crowd shouting against them. That is just magic.
I remember the Berlin finals like it was yesterday. 7-7 match point of a map 5. All comes down to that one final round. My heart was in my hands. It's my first event too. What a place to be. And hopefully we can just hope that Munich, Malta, Paris, they all just live up to it in the slightest. As for the show tonight, that is going to be all. But before we wrap off, Puffo, anything you want to add to the stream?
Thanks to everyone who came around, everyone who watched. Thank you so much to the players, and most importantly, to everyone who worked in general on the production, in the background, producers, observers, and of course the lovely people who are all around me right now.
Amguns.
I want to give a massive thank you to all of the production staff, as well as to you guys on the desk today, as well as a massive thank you to all of the staff on the back end, our producers and observers, for making this possible today. But I also have a challenge for T2 and T4. Obviously, we've got a phenomenal roster in the form of GK. I want to see more people take the opportunities that are available to get themselves involved in competitive. We might see you. We might get to cast you guys, or guys that are watching. Get yourselves involved. Get yourselves involved in all of the action that we've got available, because there's just so much stuff to compete in. If you think you can be up here competing with the best, we'd love to see you guys. And just a massive thank you to all the viewers as well for stopping by today.
Any final notes?
Yeah, thank you to everyone tuning in, to the teams playing, to all of my colleagues here and around working the Voltage League or the other 2T events, and all other T40 events also, like important work there. And yeah, especially Terry jumping in basically as a host today because of technical issues. Very nice work there. Thank you a lot for jumping in there. And yeah, and I hope everyone has a nice weekend.
Hey.
Couldn't have said
Oh,
it
happy
better
Halloween
myself.
as well.
Happy Halloween as well, yeah. Happy Halloween to all you folks at home. And one, couldn't have said it better myself, to be honest with you. It's been a pleasure to have you on the desk, and thank you for the privilege of letting me pick that down and listen to you two cast and through phenomenally since the last time. Phenomenal job on there tonight, and couldn't have done it without all of our observing team working behind the scenes to bring you the action. So Nanos, Unnamed, Aggressive, and Erebos, thank you for bringing the feed, and then of course Sirius as well for putting the whole package together in production. From all of us here on the Voltage series, we're going to be signing off for now, but don't worry, we're most certainly going to be back at some point in the future. For now, have a wonderful rest of your Halloween, have a great weekend, and we'll see you all in the near future. Take care for now. Bye-bye.
15 seconds remaining. 10 seconds remaining.
dance.